Chapter 1724. Follow-up. The document had been dispatched to town 2 days ago, and the timely delivery of the rice seeds was crucial to avoid any potential disruptions. The decision was made to distribute the available half first and devise a plan for the remaining seeds. Xiao Yunduan breathed a sigh of relief upon receiving the news and sought updates from Sun Qian and Officer Lu regarding the rice seeds. It was a relief. Regardless, at least half of the rice seeds would reach Liangshan town promptly, preventing widespread panic. While angered and somewhat surprised, Xiao Yunduan wasn't entirely caught off guard. This wasn't a prefecture capital of other states, it was a nest of bandits. What couldn't bandits in such a nest do? With a scarcity of resources, it wasn't entirely unexpected that the bandits would target the rice seeds. However, it was unacceptable. Xiao Yunduan decided to enhance security measures, increasing the number of escorts. Some would be visible while others would operate covertly. He preferred a slightly delayed delivery to risking another incident. He had already instructed Yuezhing Xiao to prepare around 60,000 caddies of rice seeds to compensate for the loss. Yet, a repeat occurrence would pose significant challenges. Convening everyone in the state office, Xiao Yunduan held a meeting to rearrange the rice seed delivery, emphasizing the importance of a secure transfer. The tension in the room was palpable, and everyone nodded in agreement, fully aware of the gravity of the situation. The atmosphere resembled walking on thin ice, with a collective fear of mishandling the task. While Xiao Yunduan asserted Officer Liu's innocence and refrained from punishing him, there lingered a sense of uncertainty regarding his true sentiments. They couldn't shake the feeling that there might be underlying resentment. The uncertainty of when he might pose challenges in the future lingered in their thoughts. In a private meeting, Jia Heming shared a concerning revelation with Xiao Yunduan. The 3 powerful mountain bandits Euro Min family tribe, Liuhe Fort and Tiger Head tribe Euro, had absorbed numerous vagabonds, gaining immense influence that even the 3 major families hesitated to confront. With spring and summer leaving the young and elderly in their care, the mountain's limited resources led to insufficient food. Traditionally, during this period, the bandits descended to collect protection fees. This year, insufficient funds may have prompted Tiger Head tribe to resort to robbing food. Jia Heming subtly conveyed that the Min family tribe and Liuhe Fort might harbor similar intentions. For a prolonged period, Jia Heming emphasized to Xiao Yunduan that the 3 prominent families had fulfilled their protection fee obligations. However, due to Lord Xiao's recent conflicts with these families, they might withhold protection fees this year. It sounded absurd but was unfortunately the reality. Consequently, the mountain bandits might target the rice seeds. Expressing genuine concern for Lord Xiao's well-being, Jia Heming proposed acquiring extra security for the journey, even suggesting purchasing protection from potential threats. However, he clarified that this was just a precautionary measure. Jia Heming detested the mountain bandits and hoped for Lord Xiao to assert dominance over them. Nevertheless, Xiao Yunduan needed to prioritize his safety. The journey was fraught with risks, and the potential loss of the seeds if anything went awry would be too great. Chapter 1725. Lord Xiao is a bookworm. In such a scenario, the pride of the 3 influential clans would only soar higher. Xiao Yunduan reorganized the transportation plan for the rice seeds and displayed documents at the city gates. These documents carried a stern condemnation of the mountain bandits who had plundered the rice seeds. The language was forceful, accusing them of harming the common people of An's prefecture with heartless actions. The documents demanded the swift return of the seized rice seeds, warning of severe consequences if they refused. Xiao Yunduan was determined to settle the score. The documents swiftly circulated to the 3 mountain bandit strongholds. While a few individuals felt a pang of conscience and unease, the majority treated it with disdain. Mockery and laughter echoed, even from the major families inside and outside the city. I was curious about Lord Xiao's response, but is this it? Ah, what a joke. The thunder roars, but the rain is a mere drizzle. Lord Xiao seems oblivious to the real situation in An's province. Scholars, always preaching morality but lacking substance. Lord Xiao, do you truly believe you can deter those people? Ah, exactly, just a bookworm. Such a jest. The entire city anticipated the next move of the prefect, only to be met with silence. Laughter intensified and some harbored secret disappointment. The 3 families in turn breathed a silent sigh of relief. It was good that Lord Xiao was like this. Yuezhing Xiao had not returned yet, extending his stay in An's province for a few more days. Daily he roamed around urging his friends to befriend the local young masters. Despite facing ridicule, he vehemently defended Xiao Yunduan, offering comfort and expressing frustration at the apparent blindness of those mocking him. Xiao Yunduan, however, smiled and urged him not to be bothered. He never concerned himself with unresolved matters. His priority outside of work was to spend time with his wife. Old Lady Fan, relishing Xiao Yunduan's defiant words, felt a mixture of happiness and slight regret, thinking she hadn't vented enough anger. Xiao Yunduan remained unaware that the hijacking of his rice seeds was a consequence of his family's revenge. Thus, he failed to grasp the extent of his family's influence evident in the incident. A missed opportunity? Upon seeing Xiao Yunduan resolving the rice seed issue, Deputy Prefect Guan experienced a mix of anger and envy. He hesitated, contemplating whether to step forward and fulfill his duties as Deputy Prefect. If he stayed inactive, would the Lord of the Prefect still regard him with fear and need his assistance in the future? As the rice seed matter was being resolved, the prestige of the Lord of the Prefect state was on the rise. It became clear that Deputy Prefect Guan could not allow himself to be overshadowed. Unexpectedly, another batch of rice seeds was stolen at this juncture. Deputy Prefect Guan knew these people too well. If there was one incident, another would follow. Especially considering the Lord of the Prefect's issuance of loud but seemingly futile documents. Were these mountain bandits to be underestimated? Deputy Prefect Guan anticipated more attacks. The wait to see if they would strike again was only a matter of time. Chapter 1726. Unwilling at this juncture, taking charge could mean that the Prefect Lord might delegate this troublesome matter to Deputy Prefect Guan, a potential invitation for trouble. After careful consideration, Deputy Prefect Guan decided to continue his recuperation. Secretly, he harbored a hope that Xiao Yunduan would face difficulties. The prospect of mountain bandits seizing more rice seeds excited him. He envisioned a scenario where Xiao Yunduan, desperate and unfortunate, would turn to him for help, allowing Deputy Prefect Guan to reclaim his dignity. However, even in recuperation, peace eluded him. To gain insights, he urged his wife to visit Madame Xiao in the East Courtyard frequently. He hoped to glean information from Madame Xiao. Mrs. Guan resisted the idea. She had no inclination to visit Qiao Xian without reason. Her desire to surpass Qiao Xian clashed with her realization that she consistently fell short. However, with her husband's future at stake, Mrs. Guan reluctantly agreed to go. Regardless of her intentions, she was going to visit Qiao Xian, and Qiao Xian had to entertain her. Mrs. Guan's constant sarcasm during these visits angered Qiao Xian. In 2 days Mrs. Guan returned, only to be told by Li Xia and others that Madame Xiao was either resting or occupied with family affairs. Frustrated, Mrs. Guan refrained from coming. Meanwhile, in Xiao Yunduan's room, the rice seeds were being delivered as per his instructions. Meng Wanfu and Ding Xiang's men were discreetly deployed, joining Sun Bai, Sun Qian, Zheng Sang, Yi, and others to ensure a smooth operation with no mishaps. Contrary to the bandits' belief that they had been spared, the success of Tiger Head tribe had stirred unrest among Min family tribe and Liuhe Fort, driven by their own greed. Xiao Yunduan, undeterred, had posted a document that, while not overly insulting, spurred laughter from the three families. However, they were also keen on imparting a lesson to the Lord of the Prefect, emphasizing the consequences of careless words. Consequently, representatives from the three families coordinated to descend the mountain and intercept the officials. This caught the officials off guard for the first time, as the bandits anticipated a larger response from Lord Xiao. Although the bandits perceived the bailiffs as inconsequential passers-by, the increased number of officials posed a greater challenge to send away. Eager to boast about pilfering from the bookworm Lord Prefect, bandits from various villages scrambled to participate. Given the An's province government's reputation for incompetence and poverty, the Mountain Kings had refrained from robbing the government for years. Now presented with an opportunity, they were unwilling to let it slip away. The anticipation was palpable, with everyone eager to partake. In the end, lots were drawn to decide who would participate. The fortunate ones rejoiced, while the unlucky ones felt a profound sense of loss. Before taking action, preparations in the tribes included slaughtering sheep, pigs, and arranging wine for a celebration. However, this time proved markedly different from previous occasions. Sun Bai and Sun Qian, notable figures from the Crown Prince's residence, and Jing Sang and the others, seasoned warriors resisting northern invasions, demonstrated their prowess. Surviving harrowing battles spoke volumes about their capabilities. Chapter 1727. Long-term plan. Moreover, the 50 men sent by Meng Wanfu were all seasoned soldiers from the army. In gratitude for Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian's kindness, Meng Wanfu ensured that the men he dispatched were exceptional. These soldiers, alongside the current bailiffs, were organized into two groups to escort the rice seeds to their respective towns. The strategy involved a combination of visible and covert presence, with professional scouts deployed to survey the route. Facing undisciplined mountain bandits, their superiority was evident. Moreover, Tiger Head tribe, swayed by Xiao Yunduan's diplomatic approach, perceived the lord of the prefect as pedantic and incompetent, a belief that played to their advantage. However, the bandits lay in ambush within a dense forest, attacking the convoy transporting rice seeds without provocation. Sun Bai, Sun Qian, and others, following the principle of capturing leaders before subduing the bandits, launched stealthy attacks. Their targets were the deduced leaders, and had it not been for Xiao Yunduan's directive to inflict serious injuries without causing deaths, many leaders would not have escaped unharmed. Xiao Yunduan had a deliberate plan. Amidst spring plowing, farming took precedence. He aimed to avoid escalating tensions by refraining from killing the mountain bandits during this crucial time. The death of any bandit could infuriate the others, potentially spiraling the situation out of control. As he hadn't yet fully consolidated control over the An's province government office and subdued the influential families, Xiao Yunduan sought to avoid unnecessary trouble. This time, the leaders of the three mountain strongholds, mainly second-in-command and third-in-command figures, were all injured, with some sustaining serious wounds. The skirmish unfolded swiftly, with arrows descending like rain and hidden weapons swarming like locusts. Caught off guard, the mountain bandits screamed and fell to the ground before they could react. Had the attackers not shown mercy, escaping might have been an impossible feat for the mountain bandits. Realizing they had been exposed and had lost a significant portion of their combat strength, the mountain bandits understood that gaining anything more was practically impossible. The attackers, masked and clad in green, concealed their faces and in some cases even their figures. It became apparent that these individuals were external reinforcements invited by the bookworm Lord Prefect. It seemed money truly had the power to accomplish anything. Despite the Lord Prefect's apparent pedantry and lack of knowledge, his affluent background allowed him to secure powerful assistance, leading to their defeat. Fortunately, Xiao Yunduan exhibited prudence. Aware of the Mountain King's formidable influence, he refrained from ordering any killings, opting to inflict injuries instead. Returning to their stronghold in a sorry state, the mountain bandits felt extreme shame. Even now, the mountain bandits failed to take Xiao Yunduan seriously. They believed he still harbored fear, considering why he hadn't seized the opportunity to kill them. The Min family tribe pondered the situation. Given the prefect lord's apparent sensibility and newfound allies, they decided to spare him this time. With numerous wealthy families in An's province, starvation was not a concern. They doubted the prefect lord possessed sufficient funds to retain these skilled helpers for an extended period. Recognizing the expertise of these individuals, the mountain bandits speculated on the considerable expense involved. Chapter 1728. Again and again the lord of the prefect seemed destined to become a spendthrift. In due time, those who felt wronged by him would settle their scores. They were not willing to bear such a significant loss. Learning of the Min family tribe's sentiments, Liuhe Fort carefully considered the situation and formulated a similar plan. The Tiger Head tribe had reaped considerable benefits, with their second-in-command being the second person to descend the mountain. Unexpectedly, he was struck in the abdomen by an arrow, causing profuse bleeding and extreme pain. Recovery would take at least half a year, prompting him to endure the suffering temporarily. Revenge, as the saying goes, is a dish best served cold. Towns close to An's province promptly delivered the seeds, while those farther away saw the daily dispatch of escort teams to their respective locations, ensuring swift progress. The Fan family and the Mei family, anticipating Xiao Yunduan's embarrassment, were taken aback. Initially assuming that the Mountain Kings had refrained from another attack, further investigation revealed the battle had concluded before it even commenced. What was Lord Xiao up to? His actions were truly unpredictable. Old Lady Fan, angered by what felt like another slap in the face, refused to back down. She covertly sent benefits to the Tiger Head tribe, urging them to act again. A lesson needed to be taught to the lord of the prefect state. Reluctantly agreeing to the Fan family's request, the Tiger Head tribe couldn't afford to appear afraid of the bookish prefect, fearing damage to their reputation. Chao Meng, the second-in-command, bedridden and cursing Xiao Yunduan incessantly, now saw an opportunity for revenge through an alliance with the Fan clan. He was determined not to let it slip away no matter the cost. Unable to take action personally, he delegated the task to his trusted subordinates. Consequently, his right-hand men, accompanied by the third in charge Jin Shan and 20 brothers, were dispatched. Acting on information provided by the Fan family, they attempted another ambush. Though the number of brothers descending the mountain was limited this time, each one was a meticulously chosen elite. Their objective extended beyond merely seizing the rice seeds. They sought revenge for the injured second in charge. The second in charge insisted that, if the rice seeds couldn't be taken, they should be set ablaze. Even if reduced to ashes, they must not fall into the hands of the officials. Equipped with oil, the plan was to swiftly pour it into the carriage transporting the rice seeds and ignite the fire. The move was undoubtedly ruthless, but given Chao Meng's severe injuries and unreleased anger, such viciousness was almost expected. This marked the final leg of the long-distance escort. After this journey, the need for long-distance escorts would cease. Safer routes awaited, with no dense forests or valleys to navigate. Although Sun Bai, Sun Qian, and the others outwardly relaxed, internally, their training demanded vigilance until the mission's completion. Just as goshawks exert their full strength to capture rabbits, the habit of not letting the guard down until the last moment prevailed. When Jin Shan and his subordinates charged aggressively, Sun Bai and Sun Qian were initially surprised by their persistence and fearlessness. Yet they remained composed. With swift shouts and orders, bailiffs rushed to protect the rice seed-laden carriage, while Sun Bai, Sun Qian and their companions drew their swords to confront the assailants. The chaotic battle's outcome became evident swiftly. Burning with anger, Sun Bai, Sun Qian and the others had spared these adversaries once before, but this time, they harbored no intentions of showing mercy. Chapter 1729. An's prefecture city is shocked again. Little did they anticipate that these individuals were unafraid of death and dared to face them head-on. The Tigerhead tribe believed they had come prepared, with a team of elite warriors catching the other party off guard. They were fueled by the desire to avenge their prior humiliation, gain significant advantages, and retaliate for their injured second in charge. With fervor coursing through their veins, they charged forward with aggressive determination, intending to erase their past shame and secure a resounding victory that would resonate throughout An's province. However, within half an hour, signs of their impending defeat became glaringly apparent. Jin Shan and his brothers, shocked and enraged, couldn't contain their emotions. Amid their anger and embarrassment, a loud shout pierced the air. Several individuals wielding fire torches rushed towards the carriage, disregarding all else. The remaining mountain bandits desperately attempted to provide cover. Upon seeing the imminent threat of arson, Sun Bai, Sun Qian, and their companions unleashed their restrained fury. What had initially been a 30% holdback transformed into unbridled aggression, each move calculated to take lives. Blood sprayed, limbs flew, and cries of agony echoed through the valley. The ground became a gruesome tapestry of scattered corpses, with dark red pools seeping into the sand, gravel, and grass, creating a chilling spectacle under the sunlight. As their brethren fell one by one, Jin Shan and the others roared in a desperate bid to fight back. Yet, the vast difference in strength between the two sides proved insurmountable, even with their reckless efforts. More lives were claimed, and the carriage transporting the rice seeds remained untouchable. With each casualty, the initially bold mountain bandits descended into fear, their once inspiring courage replaced by dread. Chao Meng's right-hand man succumbed to panic, losing the initial ambition to avenge his boss. Shouting orders to cover their retreat, they dragged a red-eyed Jin Shan away, desperately fleeing the scene. Witnessing their leader's retreat, the remaining mountain bandits crumbled, scattering like frightened birds. Had escorting the rice seeds not been their paramount concern, and the fear of potential mishaps gripping them, none would have managed to escape. Bailiffs stared at the strewn corpses and pooling blood, their bodies trembling, faces drained of color, and hearts racing with fear. The sheer might displayed by Lord Xiao's trusted subordinates left the bailiffs in awe. It was a level of power that sent shivers down their spines. Sun Bai, with a disdainful glance, scolded, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and check if there's anything wrong with the carriage. A few of you clean up the scene." Those accustomed to following Sun Bai and Sun Qian promptly complied, taking swift action. The other bailiffs struggled to move their stiff hands and feet, eventually regaining composure after some time. This was an unprecedented scene for them. In all their years as bailiffs, the most blood they had encountered were a few drops from street gangsters with minor injuries. Compared to this, those instances seemed inconsequential. Despite the initial shock, excitement soon took over. The two constable sons had proven their prowess by defeating the Tiger Head tribe bandits and escaping. For these bailiffs who had suffered at the hands of the Tiger Head tribe in the past, this turn of events was exhilarating. The mountain bandits had once swaggered through An's province, seemingly immune to the authorities. Now the officials not only confronted them but decisively defeated them. An's prefecture city found itself shaken once again. The prominent families and even the three mountain bandits were left astounded. Jin Shan, returning to the stronghold with a dark and humiliated expression, silenced anyone daring to breathe loudly in his presence. Chapter 1730. It's not too late for a gentleman to take revenge out of the 36 brothers who descended the mountain with Jin Shan. Only 6 made it back. All 30 of them met their end at the mountain's base, betrayed by the hands of those accursed officials. These 30 individuals comprised the elite intermediate forces of the village. Even though his boss didn't lay blame upon him, he couldn't face his remaining brothers. The anger and guilt overwhelmed him whenever he looked into their eyes. Xiao Yunduan, he vowed not to let him off. Even if it meant risking his life, he intended to keep him alive in An's province. Chao Meng seethed with anger, almost spitting blood as he cursed furiously. His brothers went down the mountain seeking revenge, a large group departing, but only a handful returned in a sorry state. The injustice of it all was unbearable. Thankfully, lacking the strength at the moment, he refrained from immediate descent. Otherwise, he would have stormed down the mountain, relentless until the dog official met his end. Chao Meng instructed someone to summon Boss Qing, Jin Shan, and the other core members of the intermediate village for a meeting. Elder brother, we can't let this matter slide. Otherwise, our Tiger Head tribe won't be able to hold our heads high. Competition among the mountain kings was fierce, rooted in reputation and strength within the martial world. Whoever possessed the bigger fist, the harder resolve, and more loyalty to martial values garnered more respect. Despite suffering heavy losses and appearing weakened, Chao Meng refused to become a coward. He couldn't bear the disdain even from himself. The others shared his fury and determination. This can't stand. We can't let them off the hook. We were careless before. In a fair face-to-face fight, those government lackeys wouldn't stand a chance. They can't even withstand a kick from me. Second in charge is spot on. Revenge is a must. None of you dare challenge me. That dog official's head belongs to me. Laughter erupted among the leaders as they proceeded to berate Xiao Yunduan and the officials. Once the scolding concluded, the atmosphere lightened considerably, shedding the previous bitterness. Even the embarrassed Jin Shan showed a slight improvement in his complexion. Boss Qing sneered and spoke slowly, certainly revenge is in order, but not immediately. Chao Meng raised his head, eager to interject. Boss Euro, hear me out first. Don't be hasty. This time, no small patrolling troops were dispatched. We sent elite fighters with exceptional martial skills. Third brother personally led the team, and his martial prowess speaks for itself. He was well prepared, catching the other party off guard. But who could have known a Euro? I'm at fault too. We're all at fault. We underestimated the enemy. We can't dismiss this person as a mere good-for-nothing just because past prefects were. We should have realized that this kid has some backing and confidence, daring to confront the three families head-on. After all, scholars fear death the most. Without support he wouldn't dare. Nods from the mountain bandits echoed agreement. They clenched their fists, sighed, and expressed deep regret. Boss is right. Indeed, we were too careless. Sigh. Therefore we mustn't act recklessly. We need to unravel his background first. We've already marked this person's head. As long as he remains in An's province, his head will be ours sooner or later. If he attempts to leave, well, he'll have to leave his head behind. Chapter 1731. Endure. For now the bandits, their blood coursing with ardor and zeal, eagerly rubbed their palms together. Boss is spot on. His head must be ours. If we let him live, the heavens won't stand for it. Revenge for our fallen brothers. Chao Meng, unconvinced, questioned, so, are we just letting this slide? I can't accept it. Jin Shan, burdened with guilt, interjected, Boss, second brother, it's my fault for being useless. I messed up. Chao Meng quickly reassured him, third brother, don't blame yourself. I don't blame you and our brothers won't either. It's all that dog official's fault. He's gone too far. The mountain bandits voiced their solidarity, offering comfort to Jin Shan. Boss Qing added, third brother, enough. We're all brothers. There's no point dwelling on this. Second brother is right. It's that dog official's fault. His lackey henchman lapdog is heartless and vicious. The bandits grew more united against their common enemy, unleashing a barrage of curses. After persistent persuasion, Boss Qing finally managed to convince Chao Meng and Jin Shan. He tasked Jin Shan with training the brothers in the stronghold and allowed Chao Meng time to recuperate. He then dispatched someone to investigate the dog official's background and the current situation at the government office. In essence, revenge was on the horizon, and their approach had to be strategic. When Sun Bai and Sun Qian reported the incident to Xiao Yunduan, he too felt shock and anger. He ordered the cleanup of the scene, the burial of the mountain bandits' bodies, and instructed the siblings to prepare for a counterattack. Additionally, he emphasized strengthening patrols, fortifying the city gate and state office defenses, and intensifying bailiff training. Those mountain bandits were too detestable. He really dared to do anything. The mountain bandits persistently provoked, repeatedly targeting the rice seeds. Unable to steal them, their intent shifted to destruction, marking them as perpetrators of a heinous crime deserving punishment. Despite the justified anger, Xiao Yunduan remained cautious of potential counterattacks and revenge. Jia Heming, the exception, maintained silence but harbored secret satisfaction. He grew increasingly engaged in sharing the Lord of the Prefect's concerns, offering ideas willingly. In stark contrast, the other scribes trembled in fear, haunted by the possibility of mountain bandits infiltrating the city for vengeance. There were also a few scribes who resigned because they could not withstand this fear. When Xiao Yunduan asked for the reason, he either said that he was too old to delay his work, so he had to resign, or that he did not think that he was suitable for the job, so he found another Oniyuro. Xiao Yunduan knew what was going on, so he did not ask them to stay. Instead, he asked them to leave and gave them 2 more months' salary. The scribes who had resigned were all overjoyed and grateful. They left happily. Xiao Yunduan instructed Jia Heming to recruit individuals based on his specifications, with the final hiring decision to be made after interviews. Numerous child students who couldn't attain cultivated talent status were available. While local cultivated talents were scarce, there were still some within reach. The public position offered stability and respectability, making it highly desirable. Moreover, candidates often came from families with existing government office connections, instilling confidence and deterring potential provocations. This was something that nothing else could compare to. Xiao Yunduan felt that it was exactly what Xiao Yunduan wanted when these people left on their own accord. That way he would be able to choose his own people. The people he had chosen were naturally biased towards him. The influence and connections of Deputy Prefect Guan would gradually decrease. Chapter 1732. Lord is impulsive. Xiao Yunduan found himself secretly wishing that Deputy Prefect Guan could extend his recuperation for another year and a half. However, Deputy Prefect Guan faced a dilemma. Xiao Yunduan's men had slain a significant number of mountain bandits, instilling fear in Deputy Prefect Guan. The looming threat of retaliation left him hesitating, even as he neared recovery. Despite his ongoing recovery, Deputy Prefect Guan believed it was crucial to issue a stern warning to the audacious Lord Prefect, regardless of his incomplete recuperation. Summoning his servants, Deputy Prefect Guan, with a frail appearance, made his way to Xiao Yunduan in the East Yard. Lord, those bandits are impulsive individuals. Slaughtering so many at once might provoke a reckless retaliation. Impulsive as they are, they won't care about the consequences. If they infiltrate the city and wreak havoc, causing severe repercussions, wouldn't it be Euro? Lord, your actions this time were indeed impulsive. Xiao Yunduan had just finished work and returned to the East Yard for a conversation with Qiao Xian over strawberries. His wife, pregnant and craving strawberries, was in a cheerful mood. Capitalizing on her good mood, he intended to enjoy some benefits. Just as they were indulging in a moment together, Deputy Prefect Guan's arrival forced Xiao Yunduan to attend to him in the study. Observing Deputy Prefect Guan feigning injury, Xiao Yunduan could no longer tolerate it. Attempting to teach him a lesson, Xiao Yunduan hinted at publicly punishing Sun Bai and Sun Qian to appease the bandits' anger. Deputy Prefect Guan, are you suggesting that Sun Bai and Sun Qian should let the bandits burn the rice seeds and harm people? This way the bandits won't descend the mountain for revenge, and the government can proceed without worry? Deputy Prefect Guan indeed harbored such thoughts, but he dared not voice them. Furthermore, he recognized that once the rice seeds were set ablaze, the quantity euro, tens of thousands of kilograms euro, posed a formidable challenge for transportation from other locations. Not only did the issue extend to quantity, but it also involved substantial concerns regarding time and financial resources. To be blunt, there was no right course of action in this predicament. Yet, wasn't it Lord Xiao who had stirred up this turmoil? If only his initial stance had been more accommodating, wouldn't this crisis have been averted? However, Deputy Prefect Guan hesitated to express this sentiment, burdened with grievances. He believed that his actions were for the greater good of An's province, the state government, and its citizens. Nevertheless, the lord of the prefect not only failed to grasp or appreciate his intentions but also exhibited aggression. In Deputy Prefect Guan's view, if he hadn't intervened, An's province would have remained unscathed. The moment he arrived, the situation escalated dramatically, resulting in numerous casualties. The toll in Tiger Head tribe alone was significant, and they would undoubtedly seek retribution. These bandits were interconnected. The Min family tribe and Liuha fort might exploit the chaos, and by offending the three major clans, he had simultaneously antagonized all family clans in An's province. In such a predicament, who would come to his aid? Did he genuinely believe that he could resolve the bandit issue in An's prefecture merely because he had a few martial artists with decent skills? Such a notion was gravely mistaken. If it were indeed that straightforward, the imperial court would have dispatched officials long ago to address the matter. They couldn't afford to turn a blind eye to such a significant issue. Chapter 1733. More angry if the bandits were driven to fury and resorted to killing civilians as an act of revenge, who would bear the blame? Let's observe if the commoners would direct their discontent towards none other than the prefect. The more Deputy Prefect Guan pondered over the situation, the more his frustration grew. That wasn't my intention. I'm merely cautioning you, my lord. Your impulsiveness could escalate matters beyond control. Do you not fear the consequences of letting things spiral like this? Xiao Yunduan sneered in response. What's there to fear? Let me reiterate. As long as I am present in An's province, I won't depart easily. I won't tolerate the oppression of those bandits and the three prominent families. This is the domain of the court, not theirs. I understand the challenges, the uphill battle, but I'll face it head-on. I'll certainly overcome it. Deputy Prefect Guan fell silent. After a moment he scoffed, My lord, you're not the first prefect to express such sentiments. But I will be the last, as it won't repeat. Since you hold such convictions, I can only wait and witness. I hope you won't regret your decision. Absolutely not. I'll take my leave. Deputy Prefect Guan hurriedly departed in frustration, feeling that his well-intentioned advice had fallen on deaf ears. Xiao Yunduan took a deep breath and remained silent, gazing into the vacant space before him. Eventually he turned around and resumed his company with Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian, reclining under the shade of a tree in the backyard, heard approaching footsteps. She looked up, offering a smile to Xiao Yunduan. Seeing him seated beside her, she gently grasped his hand and inquired, Is Deputy Prefect Guan back to create more complications for you? Much like how Mrs. Guan always managed to irk her every time she appeared. Xiao Yunduan's expression softened as he held her soft, slender hands and smiled. It's an old story, really. I find it amusing. Those mountain bandits and the three prominent families are not reasonable individuals. Deputy Prefect Guan is too idealistic. Qiao Xian remarked, He's not idealistic, he's fearful. He believes our husband has upset the balance and will stir up trouble. How can he compare to our husband? It's not surprising he's apprehensive. Wife, your insight is remarkable. They exchanged smiles. How could Deputy Prefect Guan know about their trump card? Unless the three bandit dens united and launched an attack on An's province, their defeat was certain. No matter how capable they were, could they match Sun Bai, Sun Qian, Zheng Sang, Wu Guan, and Ai Yi? Additionally, there were individuals dispatched by Meng Wanfu. They were simply biding their time, waiting for an opportunity to dismantle the three bandit nests one by one. The three prominent families were no different. If they became unruly, wasn't it easy for the government to handle them? Numerous obedient families were eager to stand out. With support from a few of them, someone would undoubtedly emerge victorious. If the three prominent families decided to lavish money and resources on others, they might find themselves unable to outdo their own families. Despite this, Qiao Xian was pregnant, and Xiao Yunduan yearned for a tranquil life. Yet, some individuals seemed determined to avoid peace. Initially, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan had planned to venture outside the city to survey those lands. However, amidst the unfolding events, such plans were now impossible. At this moment, Xiao Yunduan would not allow her to leave the city. The air was thick with uncertainties. In An's province, events unfolded in ways that defied expectations elsewhere. Qiao Xian was aware of her own safety, yet she couldn't disclose her superpower to him, forcing her to resign herself to the silence. Chapter 1734. No more show. The potato and herb seeds along with some fruit saplings were delivered, courtesy of Yuezhing Shao. Xiao Xian expressed her gratitude and arranged for someone to transport the seeds to the state office's backyard, eager to inspect them herself. Xiao Xian found solace when she infused her superpowers into the seeds. This way, even if she couldn't tend to the 500-meter field for a year, she was confident it wouldn't result in a misshapen harvest. With little else to occupy his time, Yuezhing Xiao stayed for a few days to assist. He diligently planted all the seeds and herbs before bidding farewell to Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. I have a feeling An's province isn't as peaceful as it seems. Those families are too audacious. Lord Xiao, if you ever need assistance, just let me know. Yuzhang isn't far. We can reach here in 2.5 days without delay. I also want to test the Yuezhing family's influence euro for the Yuezhing family to offer assistance. They would need connections in the business world. If An's province sought to wield this as a threat against Xiao Yunduan, they might find themselves outmatched. Suppressing the Yuezhing family, Zhao Shu, and the 3 major families of An's province seemed like an improbable dream. Xiao Yunduan chuckled heartily and clasped his hands at Yuezhing Xiao. Rest assured, brother Yuezhing, if the need arises, he'll certainly seek your assistance. Yuezhing Xiao responded, it's not just assistance, it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. We've always sought win-win situations. They shared a laugh. Xiao Yunduan penned a letter and handed it to Yuezhing Xiao. Xiao Xian arranged a thoughtful gift and requested Yuezhing Xiao to take it home. Especially the joyful news of Xiao Xian's pregnancy. Her mother must be eagerly anticipating it for her peace of mind and happiness. Xiao Yunduan was swamped with responsibilities, leaving him with no time to send someone home. Fortunately, Yuezhing Xiao was present to fulfill the task. Once things settled down, if their mother and others wished to visit, they could send someone to pick them up and stay for a while. However, that was not the case at the moment. Concerned that Yuezhing Xiao might encounter trouble on the way, Xiao Yunduan asked Yi and Sun Qian to escort him out of An's province. Sun Qian and Yi only returned after ensuring Yuezhing Xiao had safely reached another significant town. The 3 prominent clans initially shared Deputy Prefect Guan's belief that the Tiger Head tribe would surely retaliate and seek revenge. To their surprise, after a considerable wait, there was no sign of reprisal. Old Lady Fan grew increasingly anxious and discreetly dispatched individuals to contact the Tiger Head tribe for information. Unexpectedly, Tiger Head tribe ignored her this time and remained silent. This silence could be comprehended euro, they were concealing their strength and choosing the right moment. Seeking immediate revenge wasn't practical. What more was there to say? It would be embarrassing to articulate. Why subject themselves to embarrassment? If Tiger Head tribe chose not to acknowledge the Fan clan, so be it. What significance did it hold? Tiger Head tribe showed no regard for the Fan clan, leaving them feeling utterly powerless. Even though Old Lady Fan possessed a proud demeanor, she dared not blame Tiger Head tribe. Instead, she shifted the blame onto Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Those bandits from Tiger Head tribe are formidable and vengeful. Even if they haven't retaliated now, it doesn't mean they won't in the future. Just wait and see. Old Lady Fan reluctantly held back her thoughts. Spring plowing took precedence, especially for the Fan family. They had to attend to the agricultural tasks before anything else. Chapter 1735. Giving in at the Mei family, the season brought warmer weather, making it an opportune time for venturing into the mountains for woodcutting. Specializing in the wood business, the Mei family operated a sizable furniture workshop and engaged in log trading. In An's province, vast mountains and towering forests extended as far as the eye could see, making it impossible to reach the outskirts even after several days of walking. However, being in the wood business didn't mean having the freedom to cut down trees at will. While commoners were permitted to ascend the mountains to cut a few trees for personal use, engaging in the wood business required government registration. Upon approval, they could then enter the mountains for tree cutting activities. Moreover, there were strict guidelines for tree cutting. Loggers were required to make every effort to avoid harming young trees, and trees that had stood for centuries were off limits. In fact, loggers refrained from cutting down ancient trees, as they were unconsciously revered as sacred beings protected by the mountain god. Disturbing these venerable trees might incur the wrath of the mountain god, potentially causing a calamity. It was a risk they were not willing to take. The government's approval wasn't granted freely. For each tree felled, taxes had to be paid. Despite the Mei family cutting down a substantial number of trees annually, the taxes they paid were a mere fraction of what was rightfully owed. Even so, the Mei family harbored grievances and dissatisfaction with the government. However, each prefect lord remained submissive and refrained from voicing objections. Whenever the Mei family sought conveniences, the government readily acquiesced without protest. This treatment extended to the other two family clans. As for the various other large and small family clans, as long as they aligned themselves with the three leading families and followed in their wake, they were assured a share of the benefits. Without this arrangement, the government of An's province wouldn't have incurred such significant losses, leaving them with less than 100 taels of silver. They often found themselves borrowing money from the three major families to cover salary distributions. This loan wasn't granted without conditions. It required them to offer something in exchange, such as government-approved documents. As the Mei family planned to enter the mountains for tree cutting that year, obtaining the necessary document from the authorities was imperative. Without it, foreign merchants would refuse to take goods from them to avoid potential complications. If discovered by the government without the required document, not only would their goods be confiscated, but hefty fines would also be imposed. No one was willing to take such risks without proper documentation. Despite the Mei family looking down on the An's province state government, it remained an irreplaceable entity for any family clan, regardless of their power. Two madams from the Mei family visited Xiao Xian with gifts. Anyone seeking to navigate the complexities of governance would first pay a visit to Xiao Xian, the wife of the prefect. The Mei family, somewhat apprehensive of Xiao Yunduan, prepared an exceptionally generous gift, surpassing what they had presented to other prefect lords. However, both Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan declined the offering, making First Mrs. Mei's visit fruitless. Xiao Xian firmly rejected the gift, prompting First Mrs. Mei to attempt changing the subject. Faced with Xiao Xian's insistence, she had no choice but to take the gift back. It marked the first time someone had returned a gift from the Mei family, leaving First Mrs. Mei feeling disgruntled. Xiao Xian shared the encounter with Xiao Yunduan, jesting, "The Mei family is making their move. Hubby, keep an eye out. Much depends on this." Xiao Yunduan smiled. "Let them try to compete with those mountain bandits from the Tiger Head tribe." Chapter 1736. Anne State's intermediate peace. Old Lady Fan reveled in the Mei family's setback. She had long asserted her desire to teach the inexperienced prefect lord a lesson, making him understand who held true authority in Anne's prefecture. Now it seemed like retribution had arrived. Did they recall the satisfaction they felt watching the Fan family's missteps in the past? Now that the tables were turned, did they still relish in that feeling? Anticipating that the Mei family would approach them to discuss countermeasures, Old Lady Fan had prepared to mock them. However, to her surprise, the Mei family acquiesced. Soon after, the Mei family dutifully paid the official fees and obtained the required document to commence their mountain work. Observing this, Old Lady Fan, who had been expecting a show, felt greatly disappointed. Witnessing the Mei family's compliance, the Hua family abandoned their initial resistance and diligently went about their work. Upon hearing about Madame Xiao's cultivation of medicinal herbs in the fields, the two madams of the Hua family paid a visit. Their expressions suggested a keen interest in the matter. Xiao Xian didn't reject their curiosity but engaged with them with a subtle smile. If the Hua family presented a favorable offer, selling the herbs to them wouldn't be out of the question. With the three major families exhibiting discipline, the other large and small family clans dared not act out. An's province, as a whole, experienced an unusual tranquility, fostering a flourishing environment. Jia Heming and others were invigorated and exuded confidence. Yet, during private discussions between Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, both were skeptical that the three families would simply let the matter rest. Their restrained actions were a result of not fully understanding their own background, and it wasn't the opportune moment to act recklessly. They refrained from hasty moves, aware that, given the chance, they would unleash their full strength and attack without hesitation. Xiao Yunduan remained vigilant, recognizing that peace was precarious. This period offered an opportunity for recuperation and personal growth. Sun Bai and the others could dedicate more time to training the bailiffs in the 500 meters. Xiao Xian's land had undergone exploration. 2,000 mu of potatoes were planted on 4,000 mu of flat terrain, while the remaining 1,000 mu, along with hundreds of mu at the mountain's base, were dedicated to King Solomon's seal, angelica, crowdipper, and honeysuckle cultivation. Exploring the entire 50,000 mu of mountains was a slow process, with only 6,000 mu opened up so far, the rest temporarily halted. Summer's arrival, bringing increased vegetation and the presence of poisonous snakes, insects and ants in the mountains, made exploration unsuitable. They planned to resume exploration in late autumn, hiring more personnel at that time. The 6,000 mu already explored were exclusively dedicated to peppercorn cultivation. Yuezhing Xiao's connections facilitated the transportation of seedlings from the southwest, arriving at an opportune moment. Qiao Xian opted to plant all the peppercorns for easier management, reserving star anise and pepper planting for the following year. Despite the unsuitable exploration conditions during this time of the year, they focused on constructing roads, houses and warehouses. Qiao Xian tasked Songshe and others to spend an additional month or so to complete these tasks. Previous employees could continue to be employed for these endeavors. Qiao Xian instructed Songshe, Lu Fu, and others to discreetly observe. Subsequently, she selected approximately 20 individuals from these intermediate workers and approached them, inquiring if they were willing to sign long-term employment contracts. With numerous plots of land requiring daily management, relying solely on Songshe and the others proved insufficient even with their unwavering dedication. Assigning individuals to patrol the mountain daily became essential, monitoring the growth of the herb seedlings. It was imperative to address any deficiencies promptly and weed the areas in need. Chapter 1737. Deputy Prefect Guan's recovery. Songshe and the others would feel more at ease with short-term workers overseeing the tasks. As they continued developing all the barren mountains, the need for long-term workers would increase, not to mention the ongoing requirement for short-term workers. This marked only the beginning. Qiao Xian's primary aim was to generate more employment opportunities for the people of An's province, aligning her family's interests with those of the local community. From Sichuan peppercorns, star anise, pepper, medicinal herbs, to potatoes, the potential for expansion and cultivation was vast. If the harvests proved profitable, more individuals would likely engage in planting, prompting continuous growth. Her vision was to transform the vast An's province into a renowned region for spices and herbs, leveraging its unique advantages. Given An's province's sheer size, it was destined to become increasingly vibrant. Yuezhing Xiao decided to establish a branch of the Yuezhing family in the city, alongside 3 dessert shops offering a variety of fresh fruits. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan endorsed the plan. Xiao Yunduan entertained the idea of reaching out to the prefect of Yuzhang to upgrade the official road between An's province and Yuzhang. His vision included widening, flattening, and implementing other improvements. However, this ambitious project required substantial investment, making it currently unfeasible. Despite the family settling their debts due to external pressure, An's province still owed Qiao Xian 620,000 taels of silver. Xiao Yunduan had managed to pay off 120,000 but still owed 500,000. Progress on other projects would have to wait until the outstanding amount was settled. Upon Deputy Prefect Guan's recovery, he offered to share Lord Xiao's burden at the government office. "I'm truly ashamed. My body has been disappointing, and it seems luck hasn't been on my side. If not for these setbacks, I could have assisted you earlier. Now that I've finally recovered from my injuries, you can take a well-deserved rest after working tirelessly for so long. Leave all the miscellaneous matters to me. Lord, rest assured. Having spent many years in An's province, I'm intimately familiar with its administrative affairs. I guarantee flawless resolution of all matters on your behalf. Lord, feel free to stay away from the government office for at least half a month." Deputy Prefect Guan confidently patted his chest, addressing Xiao Yunduan with a smile. His words carried a tone as if he had made significant sacrifices, ensuring Xiao Yunduan could enjoy a peaceful break. It almost seemed as if Xiao Yunduan had taken advantage of him. He fell short of saying, "Look at all I've done for you without asking for anything in return. Let's see if I'm treated well." Xiao Yunduan chuckled inwardly. Did Deputy Prefect Guan think others were fools? It was evident that if he continued pretending to be unwell, he would gain nothing and lose all his prestige. Despite his impatience, he spoke with great pomp. If he claimed to have fully recovered and could resume normal duties, Xiao Yunduan wouldn't bother arguing at this point. However, Deputy Prefect Guan's eagerness to seize power while framing it as if Xiao Yunduan had taken advantage of him was quite distasteful. Taking care of one's health is crucial. Have you genuinely recovered? If not, there's no harm in taking a bit more time to recuperate. I'm not heartless. Even if you decide to rest for another year and a half, the rightful salary will still be yours. Chapter 1738. Taking charge. I'm a representative of the party, committed to serving the people and pursuing their best interests. It's both my duty and a matter of trust bestowed by the imperial court. How could I easily delegate these governmental responsibilities to others? Wouldn't that be a betrayal of both the imperial court and the people? If you've truly recovered, feel free to resume your office duties tomorrow. I have full confidence in your ability to handle the job excellently. Don't even consider taking on tasks that aren't rightfully yours. Deputy Prefect Guan proved to be more audacious than Xiao Yunduan had anticipated. Despite Xiao Yunduan's attempt to extend some courtesy, Deputy Prefect Guan believed he could push for more. Flashing a forced smile, he assured, "Rest assured, Lord, I'll handle my responsibilities. Just focus on your recovery. I managed all affairs in An's province before your arrival, so I'm well versed and won't make any mistakes. As Deputy Prefect, it's my duty to assist you." Ignoring the unreasonable man, Xiao Yunduan dismissed him with a few words. To his surprise, the next day at the government office, Deputy Prefect Guan acted as if he were in charge, issuing orders with authority. Being Deputy Prefect, he already had supporters who flattered him. With his arrival, they saw a leader and eagerly followed suit. Observing him seamlessly taking charge and managing affairs as usual brought even more joy to his demeanor. What did this signify? It meant that within the government office, Deputy Prefect Guan's status remained unshakable, and his influence persisted. This development alleviated tension among the office staff. Jia Heming and other scribes, who were not accustomed to Deputy Prefect Guan and were hired by Xiao Yunduan, found it unbearable. After some deliberation, they decided to adhere to the established rules in the government office. Everyone would perform their duties impartially, following Lord Xiao's instructions or official protocols. In case Deputy Prefect Guan issued any directives, they would seek confirmation from Lord Xiao before complying. Observing Deputy Prefect Guan's enthusiastic demeanor, Xiao Yunduan noticed he immediately assumed a masterly role upon returning to work. Choosing to avoid the situation, Xiao Yunduan opted to spend more time with Qiao Xian in the backyard, giving Deputy Prefect Guan the freedom to act as he pleased. As he devoted himself to addressing challenges, Xiao Yunduan also assessed the individuals within the government, identifying those who could genuinely be nurtured, discerning the unworthy and recognizing the fence-sitters. He believed in addressing all issues comprehensively rather than allowing problems to persist. Deputy Prefect Guan reveled in this newfound authority, secretly patting himself on the back. Confident in his unassailable position within government office, he drew strength from years of managerial experience and a network of loyal subordinates. Despite Lord Xiao's competence, Deputy Prefect Guan felt assured that, given his role in managing the bailiffs, Lord Xiao would not disregard him or refrain from relying on his expertise. However, his confidence waned as he soon realized that the current provincial government was no longer a realm where he could command as he pleased. Many scribes were proving less than obedient, challenging his authority. Chapter 1739. Let him do it. Unlike in the past when he gave an order, someone would immediately follow it. It wasn't like now where they would reject him or use Lord Xiao as an excuse, which made Deputy Prefect Guan furious. Deputy Prefect Guan was unwilling to give up, so he started looking for trouble. However, Jia Heming knew him well and had long been on guard. It was not so easy for him to catch Jia Heming and the others. After all, Jia Heming wasn't targeting him on purpose. He was doing everything according to the rules, or he would rebut everything by saying, "Lord Xiao told me to." Deputy Prefect Guan was furious. In the past, Jia Heming and the others wouldn't have had the guts to do this to him. They were relying on Lord Xiao. Did they really think that he could not deal with them? Unable to find legitimate faults, Deputy Prefect Guan resorted to targeted harassment against Jia Heming. Exploiting his authority, Deputy Prefect Guan abused his position to control others and assigned Jia Heming a mission with the intention of making it impossible to complete. He subtly instigated trouble through veiled hints, creating a situation where Jia Heming faced insurmountable challenges. Seizing the opportunity, Deputy Prefect Guan publicly berated Jia Heming, accusing him of being careless, incompetent and unworthy of his position. Jia Heming, grappling with his anger, attempted to defend himself. However, before he could articulate his points, Deputy Prefect Guan rudely interrupted him, levying accusations of rudeness, disrespect and insubordination without providing any chance for explanation. Though cursing inwardly, Jia Heming refrained from uttering a word, fearing that any response might lead to further name-calling and derogatory labels. Witnessing Jia Heming's silence, Deputy Prefect Guan took pleasure in his perceived victory. Fueling his anger, he intensified the verbal assault, aiming to set an example and showcase the consequences of opposing him and disregarding his authority. This targeted mistreatment persisted for 3 to 4 consecutive days, as Deputy Prefect Guan continued to subject Jia Heming to various forms of harassment. Initially, there were individuals who covertly supported Jia Heming or spoke positively on his behalf. Unfortunately, Deputy Prefect Guan implicated these sympathizers, intentionally subjecting them to difficulties. Upon realizing that Lord Xiao seemed unaware of the situation, the scribes who were initially aligned with Deputy Prefect Guan chose to remain relatively quiet. However, as the perceived lack of awareness from Lord Xiao continued, they grew bolder, exacerbating the challenges for Jia Heming and his associates. During Deputy Prefect Guan's recovery, Xiao Yunduan visibly valued Jia Heming, eliciting long-standing envy from those who harbored resentment. In Deputy Prefect Guan's absence, they refrained from hasty actions. With the opportunity presenting itself and no objection from Xiao Yunduan, their discontent could no longer be contained. Their actions escalated without restraint, further complicating the challenges faced by Jia Heming and his allies. These individuals took great satisfaction in their actions and showered Deputy Prefect Guan with flattery behind his back. They emphasized the Deputy Prefect's indispensability, asserting that, regardless of Lord Xiao's capabilities, his success in governing An's province hinged on the Deputy Prefect's unparalleled knowledge after years of residency. In their view, Lord Xiao's perceived significance was merely temporary, a consequence of Deputy Prefect Guan's absence due to recovery. Upon Deputy Prefect Guan's return, Jia Heming not only refused to step aside but also attempted to rival Deputy Prefect Guan. This audacious move, using chicken feathers as arrows, reflected a clear overestimation of his own importance, bordering on the laughable. In the inevitable choice between him and Deputy Prefect Guan, Lord Xiao would undoubtedly favor the Deputy Prefect. It went without saying, self-awareness is a crucial trait. Lacking it, one might unwittingly become a clown, blissfully unaware of their own folly. Chapter 1740. Reject. Deputy Prefect Guan completely agreed with the words of the scribes who surrounded him and fawned over him. He deeply agreed with them and felt even more pleased with himself. His courage became greater and greater and he became more and more unrestrained. He didn't dare to think about it at first, but now he couldn't wait. For example, official accounts. Deputy Prefect Guan knew better than anyone whether there was money in the original government accounts. No matter how poor the government office was, he did not care. Anyway, it had nothing to do with him. Even if he was poor, he would not be poor. Every year he would gain a lot of benefits from the various large families. He had been hoping to see Xiao Yunduan make a fool of himself when he was asked to do this. But he did not expect that Xiao Yunduan was so rich that no lord of the prefect could do anything about the thousandth of a tael, use it judiciously. However, he had easily resolved the matter. Deputy Prefect Guan felt extremely depressed, as if he wanted to see a joke fall through and become a clown. Despite hailing from a wealthy family, Deputy Prefect Guan, if unconvinced, found himself compelled to suppress his feelings. What took him by surprise was the revelation that the prefect lord wasn't just affluent but possessed an assertive temper. Despite this, the three great clans and even the normally outspoken Tiger Head tribe had acquiesced to his authority. Though Deputy Prefect Guan recognized the temporary nature of this compliance, the unprecedented scenario left him uneasy. The present state of the official accounts marked a departure from the norm. The prefect lord injected considerable funds, meticulously documenting each transaction. While the funds were beyond the current deputy prefect's reach, the curiosity to inspect the records lingered. However, Deputy Prefect Guan faced an unexpected obstacle when Scribe Fong, responsible for overseeing the accounts, rejected his request to review them. Seemingly polite on the surface, Deputy Prefect Guan had ostensibly invited Scribe Fong to seek Lord Xiao's approval for document access. While he claimed he could only read it upon seeing it, it was a deliberate move on his part. Fuming with anger, Deputy Prefect Guan was convinced that Scribe Fong, known to be on good terms with Jia Heming, was intentionally siding with him. Determined to inspect the account book, Deputy Prefect Guan sternly issued the order. However, Scribe Fong stood firm, refusing to budge. Outraged and humiliated, Deputy Prefect Guan escalated the situation, commanding his trusted aides to forcefully seize the document. Scribe Fong, equally furious, vehemently resisted. News of the commotion quickly spread, drawing a crowd of onlookers within the limited space of the state office. Jia Heming and his allies rushed to the scene, supporting Scribe Fong, while Deputy Prefect Guan's aides adamantly pressed forward. The confrontation escalated into a heated argument, neither side willing to yield. Jia Heming, with a mocking tone, intervened. The prefect lord should decide on this matter. According to the rules, only the prefect lord has the right to authorize the reading of the account book. If you wish to inspect it, Deputy Prefect Guan, seek permission from Lord Xiao. Why resort to force? Scribe Hu, backing Deputy Prefect Guan, sneered sarcastically, don't invent rules to give orders. Since when did An's province adopt such absurd regulations? Everything was fine before. You're just stirring up trouble. Can't the deputy prefect see it? Even if you consult Lord Xiao, wouldn't he allow the deputy prefect to check the accounts? Why go through all this trouble? Deputy Prefect Guan sneered in agreement, garnering nods from those around him. Chapter 1741, Angry, exactly. Lord Xiao has always esteemed the deputy prefect, so it's only natural he'd grant permission. Some people are clueless about their place, huh? Can't you see? With the deputy prefect back, someone is feeling uneasy. I agree. Jia Hemming's face flushed with frustration. That was in the past. Lord Xiao is the prefect lord now. We follow Lord Xiao's directives. Any issues with that? Of course there's no problem, Deputy Prefect Guan responded leisurely. Well, indeed follow Lord Xiao. However, we don't have to be excessively rigid, do we? As long as the rules are reasonable. We're on the same side after all. If you're so serious, who are you targeting and what are your intentions? I don't have any ulterior motives. I just a euro. If you don't, then let's talk less. Can't we maintain a friendly atmosphere? As the deputy prefect, what's wrong with me looking at the account book? Old Hu is right. I can confidently say that if I inform Lord Xiao, he won't deny me the right to review it. It's just a matter of phrasing. Using a chicken feather as an arrow is not entirely inaccurate. Laughter erupted from those around Deputy Prefect Guan. Jia Hemming, Scribe Fang, and the others exchanged frustrated glances. While Lord Xiao was absent at the moment, making a big fuss out of a trivial matter wouldn't be wise. Deputy Prefect Guan reveled in his smugness, and Scribe Hu, convinced of his righteousness, glared at Scribe Fang demanding, Scribe Fang, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and bring the ledger to the Deputy Prefect. Why hesitate? Can't the Deputy Prefect control you? Scribe Fang gritted his teeth. Deputy Prefect, please forgive me. I didn't dare defy Lord Xiao's earlier instructions. Please don't make it difficult for me, Deputy Prefect. Once you obtain Lord Xiao's approval, he'll promptly hand over the account book. You stubborn fool. In front of the onlookers, Deputy Prefect Guan erupted in anger. Trapped in a challenging situation, he forcefully pushed Scribe Fang aside and ordered his trusted aide to snatch the key, open the door and retrieve the ledger. It was just a ledger, a mere glimpse. How could Lord Xiao possibly take it seriously? In the presence of so many witnesses, if Deputy Prefect Guan didn't retaliate, it would set a precedent for anyone in the government office to challenge his authority without consequence. What would become of his standing then? What prestige would he retain? Scribe Fang, Jia Hemming, and the others were eager to intervene and halt the unfolding events. Yet, they were outnumbered and lacked the strength to oppose Deputy Prefect Guan's group. Over the years, Deputy Prefect Guan and his associates had grown accustomed to their tyrannical ways. Their influence permeated the entire government office, making even the prefect lord powerless against them. They claimed the lion's share of benefits, leaving the scraps for the rest. With the arrival of the new prefect lord, however, their manipulative tactics failed to sway him. Deputy Prefect Guan, undeterred, attempted to establish dominance upon his return. To his surprise, Lord Xiao skillfully navigated the situation, refusing to succumb to his attempts at control. Deputy Prefect Guan insisted on his recovery, showing indifference to other matters. Yet Lord Xiao didn't yield to his demands. Now, realizing that additional benefits were unattainable, their frustration and anger were palpable. Chapter 1742, Robbery. Deputy Prefect Guan seized the chance to provoke Lord Xiao, capitalizing on his silence to entice others into mischief. Individuals accustomed to enjoying perks were reluctant to relinquish them easily. Wielding the account book, Deputy Prefect Guan taunted Scribe Fang, sneering, "No need to look so despondent. I'll return it once I'm done. What use do I have for this? Can you eat it? You should have handed it over earlier instead of creating a scene." Indeed. Looks like he prefers the hard way. I extended an olive branch, but he rejected it. He's not shameless, he's just overconfident. Haha, exactly. Scribe Hu and his cohorts mocked and jeered, escorting Deputy Prefect Guan away. With nothing more to witness, the timid ones discreetly retreated to resume their tasks. Those with a close rapport with Scribe Fang remained, offering support and solace. At that moment, Sun Bai, Qing Yan and others entered with Xiao Yunduan. Frowning upon hearing the report, Xiao Yunduan inquired, "What's happening?" Lord Xiao." Everyone greeted him hurriedly. Scribe Fang bowed, cupping his hands. "I've disappointed you, Lord." Deputy Prefect Guan took the ledger. "I failed in my duty. Please punish me, Lord." Xiao Yunduan wore a cold expression, his dark eyes inscrutable. The deep red uniform added to his aura of authority. Casting a glance at Scribe Fang, he uttered a few indifferent words from his thin lips. I've made it clear that if you fail there will be consequences. You're sentenced to 2 months of punishment. Repeat the offense and it'll be 6 months. Hearts skipped a beat among the onlookers. Some had contemplated pleading for Scribe Fang, but fear silenced them. Yes, thank you, Lord. Scribe Fang accepted his punishment respectfully. Lord Xiao had warned him earnestly when assigning the task, even offering the option to decline if he found it challenging. Scribe Fang, however, perceived it as a straightforward assignment. After all, wasn't it merely obtaining approval to access various account books? He failed to realize the complexity of the situation in An's province. Back in the office, Xiao Yunduan coldly summoned Deputy Prefect Guan and all the scribes present. Deputy Prefect Guan and his companions were joyously examining the ledger together. Upon seeing over 20,000 taels of silver in the account book, excitement surged. They declared that everyone had worked hard lately and proposed sharing the silver among themselves. With more than 20,000 taels, each person stood to gain a significant amount. One individual grumbled, questioning why Lord Xiao, clearly affluent, couldn't allocate more than 100,000 taels for his own family. Despite repaying debts, he wasn't lacking funds. Why the rush? Any surplus silver should be utilized within the government office first. If Lord Xiao owed money to other families, they wouldn't insist. In their opinion, Lord Xiao was overly frugal. As they discussed, Xiao Yunduan arrived to summon them. The room fell silent, all eyes turning to Deputy Prefect Guan. Chapter 1743. Punishment. Deputy Prefect Guan felt no fear, only a slight thrill of excitement. Winning this confrontation meant retaining control in the government office, and he was determined to emerge victorious. Since Lord Xiao is extending an invitation, let's proceed. Ai stood guard at Xiao Yunduan's office door, permitting only Deputy Prefect Guan inside. The rest were left outside, the door ajar. Xiao Yunduan sat in the main seat with Jia Heming and Scribe Fang flanking him. Scribe, who, unfazed, feigned ignorance of the blockade. With a smile, he strolled behind Deputy Prefect Guan as if all was normal. Ai, brandishing his saber, halted him sternly. Lord didn't invite you in. A cold gaze from Deputy Prefect Guan supported Ai's stance. Scribe, who glanced at Xiao Yunduan, who remained impassive. When it became clear that Xiao Yunduan had no intention of allowing anyone else in, Deputy Prefect Guan, with a feigned obliviousness, followed suit. Scribe, who, conceding defeat, stood among the others. Deputy Prefect Guan greeted Xiao Yunduan with a smile. Lord Xiao, you sought me out. Xiao Yunduan's tone remained cold. Did you bring the account book? Were you waiting for my approval, as Scribe Fang suggested? Deputy Prefect Guan attempted to downplay the seriousness. I plan to inform you later, it's not a significant matter. Xiao Yunduan questioned. Did Scribe Fang not specify that approval was required before inspection? Downplaying again, Deputy Prefect responded. It doesn't need to be that strict. Xiao Yunduan cut through. Am I not your superior? Yes, Euro, but Lord, I don't mean anything else. Nothing. Xiao Yunduan erupted in anger. You blatantly disregarded my words, causing a ruckus in Scribe Fang's office, Euro, snatching the key and ledger. And now you claim innocence. Deputy Prefect Guan, what if you did have ulterior motives? Planning to steal my official uniform and parade around? Deputy Prefect Guan, shocked and flustered, stammered. Lord Xiao, I genuinely had no other intentions. I assumed you wouldn't mind a trivial matter like reviewing the account book, Euro. Why should I not care? The prefecture's accounts encompass all expenses within its jurisdiction. How trivial is that? In your eyes, it's a minor affair. Deputy Prefect Guan, what position do you hold if you lack such basic common sense? Deputy Prefect Guan felt a surge of darkness but held himself together. Bitterly, he pleaded, My lord, it wasn't my initial intention. Euro. Scribe Fang's words were harsh, and he spoke hastily. I don't know why I acted that way. Please understand. I never intended disrespect, my lord. Xiao Yunduan's tone remained cold. Intentions aside, the fact remains. Deputy Prefect, I am the guardian of An's province. Past matters may not concern me, but as long as I am prefect, my rules must be followed. Despite my repeated warnings, it seems you pay no heed. Are you confident I can't take action against you? I wouldn't dare. Why wouldn't you dare? How dare you falsely accuse Scribe Fang in my presence? Numerous witnesses were there. If I interrogate them, do you believe I won't uncover the truth? Can you fool them with just a few words? Chapter 1744. Interrogation. Lord Euro, Scribe Fong failed to protect the account book. It's his negligence. They'll punish him with 2 months of salary. And you publicly provoked the prestige of the leader and disregarded it. What crime should you be guilty of? Lord. Deputy Prefect Guan's face alternated between red and white. He staggered a few steps and almost fell. I really don't have such thoughts, Lord. This from the beginning to the end, it was just that I was muddle-headed and rushed to say something to Euro. Then he'll punish you. Do you admit it? Deputy Prefect Guan felt suffocated. He felt extremely aggrieved. He wasn't stupid. Realization dawned on him. Euro. He had succumbed to greed and walked right into Xiao Yunduan's cunning trap. Xiao Yunduan wasn't oblivious to his recent actions. He not only knew but also disapproved. The trap had been set and he had walked right into it. His own confusion played a part. Upon returning to the government office, he discovered a stark difference from the past. Smooth sailing was replaced by turbulence, and the once abundant flattery and favor had dwindled. Fueled by anger and indignation, he sought to reclaim his lost prestige. Xiao Yunduan's stoic silence further fueled his fervor until he couldn't restrain himself any longer. Suddenly Xiao Yunduan seized on his lapse, delivering a powerful blow. Reality stared him in the face, and he found himself unable to distinguish the intricacies of the situation. His carelessness had allowed this cunning adversary to bewitch him, step by step, until he was ensnared in the trap he had set. Deputy Prefect Guan found himself in a mix of terror and fury, his indignation growing. An inner voice raged, I'm only leveraging my position as prefect. That's all I have. Using it to assert dominance over others. In his mind, if he were the prefect, Xiao Yunduan would be inconsequential. How could he dare to scheme against him? His defeat wasn't to any other force but to the position of prefect. It should have been rightfully his, a culmination of years of hard work. Xiao Yunduan had snatched away the seat that should have been his, intending to degrade him in the process. Ill heed my lord's words, Euro, Xiao Yunduan retorted. You're not heeding me, you're adhering to court rules. Punishment will follow the rules, and any repeat offenses will face harsher consequences. As long as you fulfill your duties and stay loyal to the court, I won't mistreat you. However, misuse of power, deception of superiors and subordinates, baseless deceit, exploiting seniority, or any act betraying the government or me will not go unpunished. The scribes, both inside and outside the room, absorbed the stern words in silence, their heads bowed like cicadas in winter. Especially those harboring ulterior motives, they dared not even breathe audibly, fearing Xiao Yunduan might dredge up their past actions. Deputy Prefect Guan faced 6 months of punishment, with crucial responsibilities transferred to someone else. Reporting directly to Xiao Yunduan meant essentially taking over Deputy Prefect Guan's authority. Henceforth, Deputy Prefect Guan wielded no genuine power. This incident served as a stark reminder for the Scribes Euro. They were now under the authority of Lord Xiao in the government office. Rules were to be followed and the past held no weight. Deputy Prefect Guan no longer held the final say. Xiao Yunduan took decisive action, expelling only those directly involved. Euro, Scribe Hu the Key Snatcher and Deputy Prefect Guan's enthusiastic lackeys Euro from the government office. Amidst tearful pleas, Xiao Yunduan remained indifferent, instructing the bailiffs to escort them out. An official notice was promptly displayed, outlining the reasons for their dismissal, aimed at preemptively curbing any potential rumors from circulating beyond the office's confines. Chapter 1745. Zhao Shu is here. In reality, they likely lacked the courage to do so. Crossing the prefect lord would undoubtedly lead to unfavorable consequences. Deputy Prefect Guan remained silent, not uttering a word on their behalf. It wasn't that he had no desire to speak up. Rather, he found himself incapable of doing so. What words could he offer? Xiao Yunduan had no intention of granting him any reprieve, only seizing the chance to taunt him. To onlookers, Deputy Prefect Guan appeared heartless and cold-hearted. Despite the personal motivations of Scribe Hu and the others, many had earnestly supported Deputy Prefect Guan. Now, facing punishment, he didn't lift a finger in their defense. The scribes who initially sought favor with Deputy Prefect Guan recalibrated their plans upon witnessing this unfolding drama. The spectacle that had spanned several days finally reached its conclusion, promising a newfound quietness. This was Xiao Yunduan's primary concern. As his wife's pregnancy progressed, Xiao Yunduan wished for a serene period before the birth. A few days post-Dragon Boat Festival, Zhao Shu, accompanied by Uncle Qing, Aunt Qing and others, arrived in An's province. Coming from Xiaoding village, Zhao Shu exuded confidence as he knocked on the back office's door in An's province. While Xiao Yunduan maintained an outward calm, he could sense his brother-in-law's deep concern for the Xiao family. The urgency to glean information about the family lingered palpably. Xiao Xian, devoid of any pretense, warmly welcomed Zhao Shu, treating him not only as family but also as a cherished friend. Zhao Shu was elated, going out of his way to be attentive and pleasing towards Xiao Xian. While not inherently scheming, he recognized that winning Madame Xiao's favor would pave an easier path to communicate with Lord Xiao. Preemptively, before any inquiries, Zhao Shu shared updates on the Xiao family situation and handed over a letter from the family's first section. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, after reading the letter, found reassurance in the knowledge that all was well back home. Ms. Fang's joy upon learning of Xiao Xian's pregnancy prompted her to seek blessings at the temple. The letter emphasized Xiao Yunduan's responsibility in caring for Xiao Xian during her pregnancy. Expressing familial concern, the letter urged them to prioritize their well-being, emphasizing that nothing outweighed the importance of their lives. In case of any adversity, they were instructed to prioritize their safety. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged perplexed glances. The letter Yuezhing Xiao brought back made no mention of An's province. Given the distance, it seemed implausible that their families could be aware of the situation there. Yuezhing Xiao was known for his reserved nature. Xiao Yunduan turned to Zhao Shu, questioning, "How does our family know about An's province? How did they find out?" Annoyance crept into Zhao Shu's tone. "Elder brother Xiao, sister-in-law, it wasn't me. I swear, Uncle Qing, Aunt Qing and brother Yuezhing, none of them spilled a word. It's all Xiao Lulang. Only he has a loose tongue, only he understands Zero." Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan shared their frustration, muttering, "Him again." As a cultivated talent, Xiao Lulang's expanded social circle likely contributed to his newfound connections. Being cousins, he and Xiao Yunduan were perceived as amicable, making him a likely source of information for outsiders. Chapter 1746. Discussion in the village. It wasn't surprising that Xiao Lulang, being more well-connected, possessed additional information. However, anything that escaped Xiao Lulang's lips was bound to be framed in a manner disadvantageous to the first section of the family. Indeed, that turned out to be the case. Upon receiving Xiao Yunduan's letter, announcing his appointment as the prefect of An's province, the entire family and villagers celebrated. Becoming officials in the capital and local areas was a cause for joy, especially when the role was as prestigious as a prefect, surpassing even that of a county magistrate. Yet, Xiao Lulang created a commotion, asserting that Xiao Yunduan must have offended someone within 500 meters of the capital, leading to his exile to An's province. In official terms, this was labeled as exile. Upon reflection, the capital was directly under the emperor's purview. Every official aspired to serve there, putting forth their best efforts to secure a position. The idea of willingly leaving the capital seemed preposterous. Moreover, An's province wasn't just any placero, it was described by Xiao Lulang as a den of devils, a remote village plagued by bandits. Painting a grim picture, Xiao Lulang, along with third uncle and Ms. Ma, painted a vivid, though entirely fictional, portrayal. According to them, Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian were enduring a wretched life in An's province, their heads in constant jeopardy. Third uncle compassionately suggested to eldest uncle that Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian should return. He argued that Xiao Yunduan, having offended the capital's nobles, faced exile to a perilous location, signaling the end of his official career. In their view, resignation and prompt return seemed the prudent course. Why risk a terrible fate in a place like An's province? Eldest uncle found himself succumbing to internal panic, swayed by third uncle's arguments. The notion of family outweighing all else resonated with Himuro. They lacked nothing at home, and even if Xiao Yunduan relinquished his official position, it should matter little. Life was the paramount concern. Ms. Fang, incensed, scolded third uncle and chided eldest uncle for his perceived foolishness. Is Yunduan foolish? Does he lack a plan? He surely has reasons for his actions. Do you possess greater insight than him? Does the third branch know more than him? She dismissed the notions of offending nobles, exile and bandit nests as baseless, attributing them to Xiao Lulang's nonsensical ramblings. She questioned his authority to speak on the capital, labeling him as foolish and spouting nonsense, highlighting her trust in her son. Xiao Lulang, recognizing Ms. Fang's displeasure, capitalized on the situation, fueling unfriendly rumors in neighboring villages. The first section of the Xiao family had led Xiaoding village to prosperity, with the surrounding villages benefiting from the trade of potatoes, tea leaves, cassavas, and more. While many expressed gratitude, envy and jealousy were inherent in human nature. Certain individuals harbored ill will, eager to hear negative news about their prosperous neighbors. Regardless of the veracity, they propagated it as truth, reveling in the misfortune of others. The Xiao family's first section, enraged, found themselves powerless against this tide of malicious gossip. Zhao Shu arrived at this moment. Furious, Zhao Shu stepped in to support Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. As a wealthy man from prosperous Jiangnan Hangzhou, his credibility far surpassed that of Xiao Lulang. His arrival in Xiaoding village brought assurance and credibility to counter the malicious rumors. Chapter 1747. Clarification. Zhao Shu felt that the current situation warranted more clarification. He dispatched someone to the province to inform Yuezhing Xiao about the misunderstandings and requested his presence if he could spare the time. Yuezhing Xiao, having recently visited An's province, possessed first-hand knowledge of the circumstances. Putting aside his responsibilities, he promptly made his way. A sense of remorse engulfed him. Who could have foreseen such complications arising from a simple letter delivery? Yuezhing Xiao sought to dispel the rumors, offering intricate details about the prosperous state of An's province. Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao thrived there, and Xiao himself had developed a fondness for the region during his extended stay. In fact, he had left his managers and assistants there, with plans to expand the Yuezhing family's business by acquiring a few shops. "Why would I invest if things were amiss?" he countered. Regarding the bandit rumors, Xiao clarified that it was a historical misconception based on the region's terrain. While there were once fugitive bandits in the mountains, it was not a current reality. Addressing the misconception about Lord Xiao's move to An's province, Xiao debunked the notion of exile. Instead, it was a strategic move to gain valuable experience for future promotions, a common practice in bureaucratic circles. In a stern plea, he urged everyone to refrain from spreading baseless rumors. Lord Xiao's return should not be marred by malicious gossip, and Xiao hinted at potential consequences for those who engaged in such activities. The first section of the family of the Xiao family straightened up. Most people came to a realization and expressed, "I see." Everyone felt assured and started to comfort Ms. Fang and the others. The gossip-mongers found themselves gripped by fear, regretting their loose tongues and praying that Xiao Yunduan wouldn't return seeking retribution. Suddenly, these very individuals became the most vocal defenders of Xiao Yunduan, vehemently claiming they were misled by false rumors. Survival laws or nomological laws governed their actions. The wealth of the Yuezhing family and the even greater affluence of young Master Zhao provided reassurance. Their proximity to Lord Xiao indicated his well-being. Why else would they maintain such close ties? In the world of merchants, materialism reigned supreme. Accusations of jealousy were hurled at Xiao Lulang and the third section of the Xiao family. Despite Xiao Lulang's genuine efforts to convey the truth, disbelief persisted. Frustrated, he couldn't resist venting even more scathing remarks. Ms. Fang took matters into her own hands, confronting the third section and accusing them of maligning her family. She warned that implicating Xiao Lulang in any harm that befell Xiao Yunduan would have dire consequences. Proposing a complete severance of blood ties, she suggested going separate ways to avoid future entanglements. A hushed silence descended upon the third section. The thriving state of the first section meant that Xiao Yunduan's potential lack of official status wouldn't greatly impact them. The couple from the second section, now a subject of ridicule, harbored regret, while the third section hesitated to sever ties. Third uncle and Mrs. Ma, confident in their son's promising future, were unwilling to completely disassociate from the first section, even if they believed he outshone Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Lulang found himself in an awkward position, reluctant to take drastic measures. Opting for a more cautious approach, he chose to be labeled a chicken, a coward, a scaredy cat, and deferred the responsibility to his parents. Chapter 1748. Asking Xiao Yunduan. Ms. Fang sneered. If she wasn't willing, then shut up. Another word, and the third section would have no choice but to agree. The third section was furious, but they dared not utter a word. After the incident, Ms. Fang found Zhao Shu more and more pleasing to the eye. Had he not stepped forward to speak, suppressing the third section wouldn't have been as easy. Sooner or later, she would have to find an opportunity to deal with those ingrates from the third section. Tao Tao was also fuming about the matter. She adorned the gold hairpin with large gems that Xiao Xian had given her, flaunting various pieces of jewelry and pocket money to Xiao Xiaoji. Envy prompted Xiao Xiaoji to run back to Ms. Ma, choosing to vent there instead of crying in front of Tao Tao. Ms. Ma was envious too. Thinking of Zhao Shu only fueled Ms. Ma's frustration. If her daughter were to marry Zhao Shu, even as a concubine, he'd be so wealthy that Cao Cao wouldn't get the chance to flaunt. However, Ms. Ma also realized that it was just wishful thinking. Her son was destined for a high-ranking official position. How could her daughter be a concubine? She had to be the first wife. Ms. Ma comforted Xiao Xiaoji, assuring her that when her brother became an official, he would find her a wealthy family better than Cao Cao's. Xiao Xiaoji continued to cry, feeling a mix of resentment and anticipation. She hoped her brother would attain official status soon, making her an official's daughter too. Bitterly she pondered her Ajiro, how many more years could she wait? Why wasn't her brother becoming a recommended man, an advanced scholar, or an official sooner? If he failed to become an intermediate recommended man this year, would he have to wait another 3 years? How could he endure waiting for another 3 years? Xiao Xiaoji couldn't help but shiver. Ms. Fang was highly content with the marriage proposal from the first section of the Xiao family, but she didn't immediately agree. Instead, she informed Zhao Shu that Xiao Yunduan was in charge of Cao Cao's marriage, so he needed to seek Xiao Yunduan's approval. As long as Xiao Yunduan gave the nod, Zhao Shu promptly conveyed his intention to visit An's province to seek approval. Though Lord Xiao didn't appear to show much interest in him, Zhao Shu sensed a tacit agreement. Otherwise, Lord Xiao wouldn't have ignored him, let alone permitted the visit. With a farewell to Cao Cao and a goodbye to Ms. Fang, Zhao Shu, accompanied by Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing, headed to An's province without hesitation. Upon encountering Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian, the content of the letter was evident from their brief conversation. Zhao Shu, unwilling to lie, disclosed the truth when questioned. Cursing inwardly, he hadn't even broached the serious aspects of his life, yet he found himself entangled in this scam. Xiao Yunduan sneered. This sixth cousin is quite the schemer. He enjoyed stoking the flames and exacerbating the situation. Concerns about Zhao Shu's potential official career arose. It seemed he might face trouble ahead. Despite the initial skepticism, Xiao Yunduan reconsidered his opinion of Zhao Shu, appreciating his willingness to support the family. The recent discussion about Xiao Lulang had left a lingering tension, but Zhao Shu had to set aside his intended remarks. He updated Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian on family matters, presenting the special gifts they had requested. Gradually the atmosphere lightened. Chapter 1749. Zhao Shu's proposal. Zhao Shu and his servants took residence in the modest guest room within the eastern courtyard. Xiao Xian, upon learning of his arrival, instructed the kitchen to prepare a few extra dishes and extended an invitation for dinner to Zhao Shu. The family harbored no reservations towards Zhao Shu. As he was destined to be their future son-in-law, there was no need to entertain suspicions. Eager to proceed, Zhao Shu, along with his hosts, shared a meal together. As they sat in the parlor sipping tea, Zhao Shu finally rose, offering a deep bow to Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian, and broached the subject of marrying Cao Cao to Xiao Yunduan. The air froze. Xiao Yunduan raised his eyebrows. Xiao Xian looked at him and then at Zhao Shu and smiled. She didn't say anything. She knew very well what her husband was thinking. This matter had been going on for so long. It was time for an outcome. Otherwise it would be unfair to Zhao Shu and Cao Cao. It wasn't that her husband held any disdain for Zhao Shu, but he found it difficult to part with his only sister. As Xiao Xian contemplated Xiao Yunduan's silence, on the verge of suggesting a need for further consideration, Xiao Yunduan interjected, "Is this how you propose?" Taken aback, Zhao Shu's nerves kicked in immediately. "Ha," he stammered. "I am very sincere, brother Xiao. I promise to treat Cao Cao well, sparing her any grievances. I'll ensure her happiness every day. If not, brother Xiao and sister-in-law, you can hold me accountable. I won't have any complaints and I won't take a concubine. Not even a maid. I'll be loyal to Tao Tao Euro." Xiao Yunduan shot him a glance, halting his rambling. Elder brother Xiao Euro, unable to contain herself, Xiao Xian let out a snicker. This brother-in-law truly lacked any temper. Where could she find such a wealthy and easily manageable brother-in-law? After this instance, such opportunities would be scarce. Xiao Yunduan couldn't endure it any longer. "If you want to propose, at least do it properly, right?" Zhao Shu remained nervous, his thoughts in disarray. Brother Xiao, whatever you want I'll do it." Xiao Xian, unable to contain herself, burst into laughter. "Young Master Zhao, find a matchmaker to discuss this with our family. We lack nothing. Cao Cao is our only girl and we can't bear to see her suffer." Xiao Yunduan shot his wife a glance, knowing she understood his intentions, unlike Zhao Shu, who seemed oblivious. Ecstatic, Zhao Shu's eyes lit up. "Really? Feeling a bit foolish, Xiao Yunduan threw him a look. Suppressing her laughter, Qiao Xian said, "Certainly true. Remember your promises to Daiyuro, treat Tao Tao well and spare her any suffering." Zhao Shu's grin reached from ear to ear. He nodded vigorously. "No worries, no worries. Sister-in-law, brother Xiao, rest assured. I'll treat Tao Tao well, I swear." "No need to swear. Well judged by your actions. If you disappoint Tao Tao, we won't let you off. Since you're genuinely interested, go and formally propose. Whether she accepts is up to Tao Tao." Zhao Shu continued nodding with a wide smile. "Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, brother Xiao, sister-in-law, for making my wish come true, hee hee." Chapter 1750. Consider it a agreement. Certainly, Tao Tao would be willing. She liked Zhao Shu too, and their exchanged glances spoke volumes, despite their lack of physical intimacy. Tao Tao's blushes during their conversations were telling, and she had graciously accepted the thoughtful and expensive gift he gave her. While the gifts weren't exclusively for Tao Tao, hers was particularly lavish and considerate. If it were intended for her alone, she might have hesitated. In return, Tao Tao had gifted him with various food specialties. Although he secretly desired items like a handkerchief or pouch, he refrained from asking, understanding that such gifts were not easily given by girls. Her restrained nature only deepened his admiration. Even Aunt Qing and Uncle Qing praised her for understanding boundaries. Once engaged, they would be family, eliminating the need for such reservations. If he expressed his desire for a handkerchief or a sachet, would Tao Tao willingly provide them? He had carefully chosen many gifts for her, investing considerable effort. Surely Tao Tao would appreciate them. Not only could he freely exchange gifts with her, but they would also have the opportunity to converse privately. Perhaps he could even touch her hand. Surely Tao Tao wouldn't object, right? The more Zhao Shu dwelled on these thoughts, the more delightful they became. He couldn't help but break into a foolish, happy laugh. His expression was too obvious. Xiao Yunduan raised his eyebrows and got very angry. Qiao Xian coughed and said to Zhao Shu, "Young Master Zhao, you must be tired from the journey. Go back and rest." All right. I won't disturb your rest. Don't worry, elder brother Xiao and sister-in-law. They'll get some matchmaker to propose tomorrow." With a smile he added, "I'll go too." Qiao Xian found it funny, thinking that he was not tired at all. Zhao Shu left happily. His feet felt light as if he was floating in the air, feeling refreshed. What he had pondered for so long was finally materializing. After a prolonged period of weighing pros and cons, he could finally find solace. The weather was truly splendid. The moon shone brightly, and the stars scattered across the sky. Upon Zhao Shu's departure, Qiao Xian couldn't contain her laughter. She cast a playful glance at Xiao Yunduan and remarked with a smile, "From now on, you ought to treat young Master Zhao even better. After all, we're family." Xiao Yunduan sighed and took hold of Qiao Xian's hands. Reflecting on the swift passage of time, he mused, "Tao Tao in my mind remains petite and young. I never expected her to be betrothed so swiftly. I hope Zhao Shu keeps his word and treats her well." Qiao Xian smiled gently. "Young Master Zhao seems genuinely caring. Our Tao Tao is a wonderful girl, and their future should be bright. Moreover, with my husband by their side, there will be an added layer of protection." Rejuvenated, Xiao Yunduan smiled at Qiao Xian. "For the sake of my wife, our children, and our family, I must persevere. Euro at the very least." He needed to continue his official duties. Accumulate experience and merits, secure a higher position before contemplating other plans. Qiao Xian chimed in. "It's not as dire as it seems. Even if my husband were to retire from officialdom with our current wealth, no one could intimidate us. No need for him to burden himself excessively." Xiao Yunduan laughed, drew Qiao Xian close and planted a gentle kiss on her. "I know what I'm doing. Don't fret, my heart will ache." The two shared a smile, and Qiao Xian's heart softened as she nestled into his embrace. Time flew by swiftly. Tao Tao was on the verge of marriage and they were soon to be parents. Chapter 1751. Excited Zhao Shu was overflowing with joy, so much so that he couldn't sleep a wink that entire night. Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing shared in his happiness. Witnessing his excitement, they found themselves torn between laughter and tears. Anxious to make preparations, Zhao Shu needed to return to Yuzhang the following day. While not as prosperous as Jiangnan, Yuzhang, being a provincial city, offered access to goods from both the north and south. The marriage proposal was merely the beginning. The actual purchases would take place in Yuzhang. Afterward, he planned to acquire a spacious house in Yuzhang province. This would not only serve as a convenient residence for him and Tao Tao but also accommodate the betrothal gifts he had prepared in Jiangnan. Anticipating his brother's extended stay in An's province, Zhao Shu considered buying a house there as well. When Xiao Yunduan settled down, Zhao Shu envisioned picking up Tao Tao and her mother to visit and stay for a while. Surely Tao Tao would be delighted, earning praise from her mother-in-law. Amidst his joyous planning, Zhao Shu overlooked the fact that his future mother-in-law was the Lord's biological Sona Yuro, an official in An's province. It only made sense to stay with his biological son, not in a house bought by his son-in-law. Xiao Xian advised Zhao Shu to rest for a couple of days before departing, and Xiao Yunduan shared a few words with him. While Zhao Shu was eager, he realized he was fatigued from the lengthy journey. Besides, given the care shown by fifth brother and fifth sister-in-law, he decided to grant them some face. Indeed, young Master Zhao was taking a proactive approach, having already adjusted his way of addressing Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian as fifth brother and fifth sister-in-law. Xiao Yunduan was momentarily surprised by the change, but he neither corrected nor offered any suggestions. Instead, he silently consented. Feeling increasingly self-assured, Zhao Shu's self-importance grew. Xiao Xian chuckled inwardly. This Zhao Shu was truly entertaining. Having spent 2 days in An's province, Zhao Shu embarked on his journey to Yuzhang, serving as a messenger for Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Ecstatic, Zhao Shu set off without the accompaniment of Aunt Qing and Uncle Qing. They watched with smiles, sighing with relief. Young master's marriage is finally settled. Shortly before the new year, the clan leader sent a letter urging Zhao Shu's swift return to Euro, for no reason other than his impending marriage. Since Zhao Shu's adoption, numerous individuals within the clan eyed his marriage prospects. The threshold of the clan leader's family was nearly worn down. The clan relatives and friends were all fervently eager to share potential matches for Zhao Shu. After all, the wealth of Zhao Shu's family, bereft of direct elders, was immense. Just the 100,000 mu of mulberry fields alone generated an annual income of 700,000 to 800,000 taels of silver euro, a staggering wealth that many dared not imagine. Success in marrying into the family would make the in-law family Zhao Shu's closest relative and elder. This opportunity promised newfound prosperity, tempting many. The patriarch's daughter-in-law, faced with the realization that her maternal family lacked a suitable girl for marriage, was on the brink of despair. She had missed a golden opportunity and was determined to rectify it. Who wouldn't be enticed by such a favorable arrangement? Now, with nothing else to occupy her thoughts, the patriarch's daughter-in-law resolved to assist anyone willing to offer sufficient benefits. Chapter 1752. Dumbfounded, she accused Zhao Shu of being overly petty. In a logical sense, Zhao Shu had adopted the patriarch's late younger brother, making the patriarch's family his elders. Therefore, it was only fair for him to delegate responsibilities to manage his business. However, Zhao Shu remained adamant, even resisting the pressure from the clan. He hadn't returned, making it inappropriate to press the matter further. This time they called him back for 2 reasons: his impending marriage and the desire to intervene in his business affairs. Even if they had parted ways, they were still his elders. When the time came to reprimand him, he would have to show some deference. The Zhao family clan buzzed with activity, resembling a revolving door or a game of musical chairs. The patriarch's wife assumed an air of importance, as if she held Zhao Shu's family matters in her grasp. Upon Zhao Shu's return, his eyes gleamed upon hearing the patriarch and his wife discussing the marriage. Feeling slightly embarrassed, he smiled and admitted, I originally planned to inform you about this upon my return. I've taken a liking to a girl and was about to propose." The patriarch and his wife were taken aback, exchanging astonished glances. This person had actually set his sights on someone outside the clan? Unthinkable. He couldn't possibly do this. Quickly, the patriarch's wife interjected, "Shu, you're still young and inexperienced. The world can be treacherous, and with your family's wealth, you need to be especially cautious outside. Who knows if others have their eyes on your assets? Falling prey to those with ill intentions could lead to trouble." The patriarch nodded in agreement. Zhao Shu felt displeased upon hearing this. He swiftly clarified, "Auntie, you've misunderstood. The girl I like comes from an exceptional family. Her brother is the newly appointed primus by the emperor this year. He currently holds the position of a 5th-ranked minister-counselor in the Ministry of Revenue in the capital and enjoys favor from the emperor and the crown prince. How can such a family not be esteemed?" The patriarch's wife froze in surprise. However, the patriarch's expression soured. Did that girl personally confirm this? Something doesn't add up. While I may not be well versed in bureaucratic matters, don't all new primuses join the Hanlin Academy initially? It takes several years to progress to the 6 divisions, right? Moreover, attaining the 5th rung Kyuro, this is a significant official position. How could one suddenly rise to such a rank? The patriarch's wife chimed in, exactly. It's obvious that this is a fabrication. If you can concoct such a ludicrous lie, what does it say about your character, Euro? Auntie? Zhao Shu interrupted her unhappily. You've misunderstood. I spent a considerable time in the capital and happened to become friends with the newly appointed top scorer, Lord Xiao. I only discovered his sister later. How could this be a lie? No one would dare fabricate such a story. Brother Xiao is exceptionally capable and stands out among the primuses. The Emperor and the Crown Prince hold him in high regard, so it's not surprising that he achieved a 5th rank position at such a young age. If Uncle doubts my words, you can verify it by asking around in the capital. Though Zhao Shu felt a twinge of guilt for not disclosing Xiao Yunduan's impending departure from the capital, he wasn't lying. Euro, everything he said was true. While working with Qiao Xian to resolve the Zhao family's issues, he refrained from divulging certain details to maintain credibility. Yet he wouldn't permit anyone to besmirch Tao Tao and the Xiao family. He went so far as to enlist Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing as witnesses to support his claims. Chapter 1753. The Liu family won't do it. Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing exchanged nods in agreement. These two were not just ordinary aides, they were pillars of support left by Madame Zheng for Zhao Shu, and their words held immense weight. The patriarch and his wife found themselves unable to counter their stance. Sharing a meaningful glance, the couple realized they had no choice but to let go of their objections. Zhao Shu's choice in marriage surpassed the standards set by his family. There was no logical reason for him to reconsider. Besides, given the prospective spouse's popularity with the Crown Prince and the remarkable achievement of being a 5th-grade official at such a young age, Zhao Shu's future seemed boundless. The patriarch dared not risk offending such a significant figure easily. With a few words of blessing, the patriarch dismissed Zhao Shu, leaving him to rest. Once Zhao Shu departed, an unspoken conversation passed between the patriarch and his wife. The patriarch sighed, breaking the silence. Let it be. Regardless, Shu treats us well. His choice will benefit the Zhao family in the long run. His wife sighed in agreement. Though lingering reluctance remained, they had to concede. Zhao Shu's generosity, especially during festive occasions, was undeniable. The New Year's gifts and the 15th of August brocade, with each piece valued at 300 taels of silver, showcased his affluence. The silver alone amounted to a generous sum of 5,000 taels. Comparatively, Zhao Mu paled in comparison. The matter seemed settled, but when the patriarch's wife confided in her cousin Mrs. Liu about Zhao Shu's choice, Mrs. Liu was taken aback and displeased. Initially confident in the match, Mrs. Liu had assumed Zhao Shu, with no other elders to consider, would naturally heed the suggestions of the patriarch and his wife. She had already envisioned the calculation of Zhao Shu's assets. Mrs. Liu had meticulously planned everything. Once her youngest daughter was engaged to Zhao Shu, she intended to have them married within the next 2 to 3 months. Considering Zhao Shu's age, it was high time for him to settle down. Post-wedding, she envisioned a stint at Zhao Shu's residence to assist her daughter in managing the household. Anyone deemed unruly or disobedient would be promptly dismissed. Her strategic move involved entrusting her son, daughter-in-law, 2 other daughters, and son-in-law with the responsibilities of the Zhao family's business. They were family, and Mrs. Liu insisted on their active involvement, unwilling to let outsiders take charge. Mrs. Liu felt empowered to scheme in such a way because she perceived Zhao Shu as vulnerable, lacking parents or siblings. In due time she would become his mother-in-law and the closest elder in his Lifia Euro. How could he possibly resist? Mrs. Liu went so far as to inquire about Zhao Shu's assets, piecing together enough information to fuel her excitement. As she shared her plans with her family, excitement rippled through them as well. Despite Mrs. Liu and her husband urging caution and discretion about their newfound wealth, their secrecy didn't last long. Once the news broke, it spread like wildfire. The sons and daughters-in-law of the Liu family, unable to contain their enthusiasm, inadvertently leaked the information. Despite fervent warnings to keep it under wraps, word got out. Rumors echoed throughout the community, with even the youngest child in the neighborhood supposedly aware that the Liu family's youngest daughter was on the verge of marrying the wealthiest man in Yangzhou Euro, Zhao Shu. The Liu family's fortune seemed destined to soar. Just as the Liu family reveled in their imminent prosperity, the wife of the Zhao family's patriarch abruptly instructed them to abandon their plans. Letting go of such aspirations proved to be an unbearable task for the Liu family. Chapter 1754. Bewitchment. Mrs. Liu seethed with anger, her chest turning cold, and her vision threatening to black out. She was on the verge of fainting. The audacity of the situation felt like an outright betrayal. Had it not been for her appeal to the patriarch's wife for assistance, Mrs. Liu might have unleashed a torrent of curses. This level of manipulation was beyond acceptable. The Liu family had meticulously prepared for the alliance, and the sudden change was utterly unjustifiable. The patriarch's wife's directive to forget it sounded absurd. How could they simply erase such elaborate plans? The shame would be insurmountable, tarnishing their standing with relatives, friends, and neighbors. Suppressing her fury, Mrs. Liu shifted tactics to sway the patriarch's wife. Her reasoning was sound. Marrying her daughter to Zhao Shu promised far greater benefits for the patriarch's family. Mrs. Liu made a generous promise, emphasizing the potential advantages for both families. She insinuated that when the time came, members of the patriarch's family could actively participate in managing Zhao Shu's assets. It seemed like a win-win situation. Although tempted, the patriarch's wife hesitated. Instead of immediate agreement, she approached Zhao Shu, subtly suggesting that he involve her two sons, brothers, and nephews in their plans. Zhao Shu found the suggestion distasteful. Flatly refusing, he clarified that while Uncle Qin could arrange suitable positions for them, adherence to rules was non-negotiable. Not everyone could become a manager, let alone assume a chief managerial role right from the start. Even if they contributed, their progress would align with the natural course of their abilities. While Zhao Shu wasn't deeply involved, he adhered to the principles instilled by his mother, Madame Zheng. This approach mirrored the rules governing the businesses under his control and those of the Zheng family in the past. Unyielding in his commitment, he refused to compromise for anyone. This stance deeply displeased the patriarch's wife. In her view, her two sons, being Zhao Shu's cousins, deserved to be chief stewards from the start. How could Zhao Shu audaciously delegate such responsibilities to his subordinates? As for her brothers and nephews from her maternal family, she knew their disposition well. Accustomed to being landowners with over 300 mu of land in the countryside, they were used to the roles of old masters and young masters. The notion of starting from the bottom seemed preposterous to them. They envisioned a life of prosperity and leisure, not hard work. If Zhao Shu had the compassion, a place in his heart for his aunt, he could have let them oversee matters and assigned a deputy to handle the practicalities. Yet he refused outright. The patriarch's wife, swayed by Mrs. Liu's enticement and fueled by dissatisfaction, sought solace in discussions with Mrs. Liu. Having gathered information from various sources, she knew Zhao Shu's resolve to marry into the Xiao family was unwavering. Fueled by discontent and anger, she began entertaining malicious thoughts. Her first scheme involved orchestrating a chance encounter between Miss Liu and Zhao Shu. A carefully arranged meeting could create an illusion of fate, fostering love at first sight. Assuming Miss Liu presented herself as a delicate beauty, coupled with the orchestrated encounter, there was a chance Zhao Shu might be swayed. In an unexpected turn, Zhao Shu sprinted away at the sight of the seemingly serendipitous meeting, petals falling from the sky like discarded dreams. Chapter 1755. Scheme failed. Miss Liu, being a girl, couldn't shake off her shyness. Despite the awareness that the entire affair reeked of manipulation, she still harbored the romantic notions of a young girl. Unexpectedly, before she could approach Zhao Shu, he likely barely glimpsed her face. He only registered a rose-red embroidered dress before swiftly turning on his heels and running away. Left behind in embarrassment, Miss Liu, who was meant to coincidentally encounter Zhao Shu, returned home in tears. Overwhelmed by sadness and shame, she felt thoroughly humiliated, much to the fury of Mrs. Liu. In reality, Zhao Shu hadn't dwelled much on the incident. He was simply exercising caution. While strolling through the plum trees, he spotted a girl in vibrant attire. Sensing a potential gossip risk, he opted for a hasty retreat to avoid implicating her reputation. A gentleman at heart, he wouldn't indulge in wicked actions. Creating a convincing coincidental encounter required meticulous planning and timing. Missing an opportunity meant the task would become exponentially more challenging. Being both affluent and socially sought after, Zhao Shu juggled numerous engagements daily, especially with his impending marriage to the prominent Xiao family in the capital. The patriarch's wife aimed to orchestrate another meeting between Zhao Shu and Miss Liu, but time slipped away. With Zhao Shu's imminent departure to the capital after the first lunar month, the patriarch's wife felt a sense of urgency. Though conflicted, Mrs. Liu, resolute and unyielding, persisted in her quest to rectify the situation. While not an original strategy, its success, if achieved, would be an undeniable victory. Zhao Shu would find it impossible to renege on his commitment. Both the Lu family and the patriarch's wife were resolute in ensuring Zhao Shu didn't backtrack on his commitment. The patriarch's wife, although initially hesitant, harbored fears of failure and potential future animosity from Zhao Shu. On the other hand, Mrs. Lu, driven by determination, relentlessly persuaded and urged the wavering patriarch's wife until she succumbed. Opting for a seemingly easier route, the patriarch's wife clandestinely instructed her son to accompany Zhao Shu to gatherings and ensure he consumed enough alcohol to induce inebriation. It was a calculated move, anticipating that something would transpire in such a vulnerable state. Moreover, the blame could conveniently be shifted to Zhao Shu. If her son claimed ignorance due to intoxication, Zhao Shu would find it challenging to defend himself. This would leave him beholden to Miss Lu and susceptible to any requests the Lu family made. Contrary to expectations, Uncle Qin, Aunt Qin, and the others maintained exceptional vigilance, heeding only Zhao Shu's directives. Furthermore, Zhao Shu was cautious about alcohol, never allowing himself to get drunk in unfamiliar settings. His mother, Madame Zheng, had instilled in him the risks involved, particularly in their line of business, where one couldn't afford to be inebriated and prone to potential manipulations. Drinking and socializing were integral to their business interactions, making sobriety imperative to avoid the pitfalls of signing contracts or being deceived while intoxicated. Zhao Shu therefore refrained from getting drunk outside, even during gatherings. Uncle Qing and the others were unwavering in their commitment to shielding Zhao Shu, preventing any unwanted approaches. As the spring festival drew to a close, the patriarch's wife and Mrs. Lu found themselves without an opportunity to execute their plan. Chapter 1756. Zhao Shu won't go the patriarch's wife's side. Tired, mentally tired. Why don't we forget about this matter? She didn't have much confidence after failing for so long. However, Mrs. Lu wasn't willing. She was also distraught and depressed, but at the thought that she could have a fortune if she worked harder, she felt that she could do it again. Mrs. Lu's family was having a banquet. As the patriarch's wife, she asked her two sons to go and bring Zhao Shu along. But Zhao Shu refused to go no matter what. With utmost transparency, Zhao Shu addressed his two cousins. I've heard numerous baseless rumors about my supposed intention to marry Miss Lu. It's absolute nonsense. I can't risk attending the Lu family's event. Those rumors might resurface. I wouldn't want to jeopardize Miss Lu's reputation. I'd be terribly embarrassed. While Zhao Shu believed the matter wouldn't significantly impact him, given his impending marriage, the widespread news of his union with the Xiao family served as a countermeasure to suppress rumors circulating in the Lu family. Despite the geographical distance between the Lu family and the Zhao family, the rumors managed to infiltrate Zhao Shu's domain, necessitating his caution. Zhao Shu's rationale resonated with practicality. Faced with such a situation, avoiding potential suspicions became a logical choice. The patriarch's two sons sighed inwardly, recognizing their mother's plot. While they harbored dissenting opinions, their mother kept them in the dark about her intentions. They felt compelled to feign ignorance and refrained from broaching the subject proactively. Involving reputations and delicacy, this matter demanded discretion. Whether Zhao Shu or Miss Lu, their personal matters should remain private. Despite the sons' subtle objections, their mother seemingly feigned ignorance, coercing them into bringing Zhao Shu to the Lu family event. Reluctantly, they acquiesced to her insistence. Zhao Shu's eloquent words made them heave a sigh of relief. They had something to say to their mother. The patriarch's wife was a little angry and embarrassed. She called Zhao Shu over to persuade him nicely. She smiled and said something like, "The innocent are innocent," so that Zhao Shu didn't have to care. No one would believe that nonsense. Moreover, the more he hid, the more problematic it was. If he went openly, no one would be able to say anything. Zhao Shu was still unwilling. He had his own reasons. Zhao Shu, had nothing to do with the Lu family and their family had nothing to do with the Lu family. Why should he go? He wanted to ride on his cousin's coattails. Wasn't this obvious that outsiders would think that there was a problem? The patriarch's wife couldn't say anything, but she couldn't show her intentions too clearly. She was helpless. Unexpectedly, Mrs. Lu was unwilling to give up. She sent her son over and asked them to bring Zhao Shu home no matter what. Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing could not take it anymore. The two young masters of the Lu family did not even get to see Zhao Shu. Perhaps Zhao Shu was still in a daze and did not know anything, but he could not hide any clues from Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing. The two of them vented their frustrations silently, muttering "shameless" under their breaths. The audacity of the failed scheme irked them, yet the Lu family dared to brazenly intrude on their territory in an attempt to reclaim Zhao Shu. How audacious! Did they truly believe their young master would succumb to bullying without anyone to defend him? The term "calculate" crossed their minds, reflecting the underhanded nature of the Lu family's actions. Simultaneously, they couldn't help but feel gratitude for their young master's fortunate association with Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao. The prospect of him marrying Miss Xiao Taotao brought a sense of relief and hope for a brighter future. Chapter 1757. Sisters falling out. Otherwise, if the patriarch and the patriarch's wife were to arrange a marriage for their young master, he would likely not reject them. The mere thought sent shivers down their spines, contemplating the potential consequences. Shocked, they found solace in the belief that it was a heavenly blessing from Madame, ensuring their young master's good fortune. Gratitude washed over them, recognizing his stroke of luck. Unable to engage in gossip, Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing refrained from divulging any information. Nevertheless, their concern for Zhao Shu led them to suggest a timely departure to the capital, offering assistance to Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao if needed. Zhao Shu readily agreed, deciding to bid farewell to the patriarch after the 15th day of the first lunar month. Departing for the young masters of prominent families involved a meticulous process. They packed their belongings, bid farewell to their elders, and could only truly set out after the 20th of the first lunar month. Lengthy farewells with relatives and friends extended the departure timeline, spanning at least 10 days to half a month. Once the matter was settled, they could leave within a few days, bringing relief to Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing. Unexpectedly, the Lu family faced a setback. With Zhao Shu's family matters resolved, the Lu family's previous boasts turned into a source of mockery. Countless people derided them behind closed doors, though none were foolish enough to explicitly convey the ridicule to the Lu family. However, an exception emerged. During a banquet hosted by the Lu family, Miss Lu and sister-in-law entertained a group of young misses and madams. Among them were those who harbored ill feelings towards Miss Lu. Coincidentally, there was a quarrel. The other party was angry and spoke too quickly, so they used this matter to mock Miss Lu. Due to this ordeal, Miss Lu found herself overwhelmed with shame and resentment. She even harbored bitterness towards her mother, feeling that the matter had not been truly resolved but had instead spread far and wide. Unable to face the embarrassment, she was on the verge of hiding from everyone. To her dismay, the mockery didn't end. In front of a gathered crowd, people openly taunted her, and snickers echoed from the onlookers. Blushing with embarrassment, Miss Lu covered her face and fled, tears streaming down her cheeks. The two daughters-in-law of the Lu family shared in the embarrassment, and witnessing Miss Lu's distress made others uncomfortable. Swiftly changing the topic, they attempted to divert attention away from the awkward situation. While the incident was promptly suppressed at the banquet, whispers lingered as some couldn't resist discussing it in hushed tones afterwards. After the banquet, news of the embarrassing incident spread throughout the Lu family, leaving everyone disgruntled. To everyone's shock, Miss Lu, overwhelmed by embarrassment, attempted to hang herself. Fortunately, her vigilant maidservant intervened in time, saving her from harm. Mrs. Lu, deeply distressed, held her daughter close, tears streaming down both their faces. Overwhelmed with grief and anger, Mrs. Lu directed her frustration towards the patriarch's wife and sought answers from the Zhao family. In her pursuit of justice, she decided to expose the matter. Exasperation fueled a heated argument between the patriarch's wife and Mrs. Lu, resulting in an irreparable rift in the relationship between the cousins. Mrs. Lu, fueled by resentment and an unwavering determination, refused to back down. The thwarted outcome with the patriarch's wife only intensified her resolve. At this point, retreating would mean forfeiting everything. She believed that by pressing forward there might still be a chance. The commotion extended to the Zhao family clan, eliciting the patriarch's ire. Frustrated, he vented his complaints to his wife, realizing that the matter needed resolution. Summoned amidst the chaos, Zhao Shu arrived, wearing a perplexed expression. Mrs. Lu, however, didn't want to strain her relationship with him. She refrained from holding on to him, seeking a more diplomatic approach to address the unfolding situation. Chapter 1758. Anyway, no. Mrs. Lu, however, continued to insist, pressuring the patriarch's wife and claiming that she had been promised Zhao Shu for her youngest daughter. This rumor had already spread, tarnishing her daughter's reputation, and now the Zhao family was demanded to provide an explanation. She hinted strongly that Zhao Shu was intended for her daughter's hand in marriage. Zhao Shu's expression darkened. The patriarch's wife, caught off guard by the unfolding situation, was filled with regret. Despite Mrs. Lu's accusations, she vehemently denied any such promise. Zhao Shu could clarify that while he might have entertained the idea in the past, no formal steps like proposing or exchanging birth dates had taken place. It wasn't a valid commitment. Mrs. Lu persisted, trusting the relationship between her and Madame Zhao, cousins with a supposedly strong bond. She accused Madame Zhao of betrayal, claiming her daughter's tragic fate was a result of deception. An explanation was demanded. The elders of the Zhao clan disapproved, casting judgmental looks at the patriarch and his wife. The gravity of the situation threatened the family's reputation. As tension escalated, the patriarch silently cursed, realizing the potential consequences. If a death were associated with this dispute, his position as patriarch might be jeopardized. Mrs. Lu remained relentless, pushing the boundaries dangerously. In truth, the Lu family held the incorrect stance, and the patriarch's wife had made a grave error in her hastiness. Had the patriarch's wife not been so quick to make promises without verifying the facts, the Lu family would have remained silent. The blame rested on her for pursuing a faulty narrative. Some believed that when Zhao Shu returned and clarified his existing commitment to another family, the patriarch's wife should have decisively quashed any aspirations the Lu family harbored. Yet, unbeknownst to many, she was hatching a covert plot against Mrs. Lu. It's a small community. Did they truly believe their schemes would go unnoticed? The public merely played ignorant. In the end, their machinations backfired and they ended up causing harm to themselves. These two individuals were far from virtuous, but dwelling on that was futile. The immediate concern was resolving the issue and pacifying the Lu family. Within the Zhao clan, there were those who reveled in Zhao Shu's misfortune, eagerly anticipating his downfall out of sheer jealousy. Zhao Shu's affluent background, coupled with his lack of familial restrictions, fueled envy and resentment. These onlookers couldn't wait for his fortunes to take a turn for the worse. Hence, taking a diplomatic approach, they suggested Zhao Shu marry Miss Lu. After all, he wasn't bound to the Xiao family through engagement, making it a family matter that required respect for the elders and their priorities. Given Lord Xiao's refined education, it was presumed he'd comprehend the situation. Numerous heads nodded in agreement. Considering the Xiao family's distance from the capital, they wouldn't be adversely affected. The Lu family, however, was in a different predicament. Should any harm befall Miss Lu due to this dispute, the Zhao family's reputation would suffer, impacting them all. The patriarch and his wife gazed at Zhao Shu hopeful. Mrs. Lu, even more self-satisfied, declared it as the optimal solution. She lavished praise on her daughter, extolling her virtues, sensibility, intelligence, and beauty. Once married into the Zhao family, she promised, Miss Lu would dutifully care for her elders, tend to her husband, and raise her children with utmost dedication. Mrs. Lu confidently envisioned her daughter becoming the ideal daughter-in-law for the Zhao family. Chapter 1759. Not giving any face. Infuriated, Zhao Shu vented his anger, scolding the Zhao family relentlessly. He made it clear marriage to a girl from the Lu family was out of the question. His commitment lay with the Xiao family, and he was adamant about reporting to the patriarch and formalizing the betrothal. No other family would be part of his matrimonial plans. He wouldn't let anyone undermine this decision. He viewed his marriage seriously and was prepared to face any legal battle or financial strain that arose from this dispute. Compromise was not an option. Defying all odds, he asserted, let them try if they have the audacity. Frustrated at the absurdity of treating his marriage as a jest, Zhao Shu declared he'd start his own family if the Zhao family held such a stance. As Zhao Shu cursed, Mrs. Lu's face fluctuated between red and white. Panic seized many members of the Zhao family as they attempted to pacify him. How could they utter such words? The Zhao family had no reason to dislike him. His generosity during the new year, showering elders' families with gifts exceeding 1,000 taels, was a testament to his affluence. The family could live comfortably for a year with just his New Year's offerings. No matter who opposed him, the god of fortune seemed to favor him. Rich, influential, and well-connected, Zhao Shu was beyond the Zhao family's control unless he willingly yielded. Mrs. Lu, humiliated and desperate, resorted to threatening her daughter's life once more. Unfazed, Zhao Shu sneered and retorted, "How is that my problem? I don't even know you. Find whoever you want. I couldn't care less." Mrs. Lu nearly fainted from the intensity of her anger. The patriarch and his wife wore expressions of extreme displeasure. Zhao Shu showed no regard for their authority. Observing their evident fury, Zhao Shu took a measure of satisfaction. His substantial wealth, though disposable, wouldn't be spent on tolerating their bullying. Despite belonging to the same clan, he drew a line at being coerced into unwanted commitments. He asserted firmly, "Let's be clear, Euro, I won't marry this girl no matter which family she belongs to. Who dared to scheme behind my back, and how did you bring her here? Sort out sending her back." His words aimed solely to repel and disgust them. Mrs. Liu, infuriated, nearly spewed blood as she scolded the patriarch's wife for implicating her in the responsibility. The two women engaged in a heated argument, teetering on the verge of physical confrontation if not for the onlookers. Unyielding, Zhao Shu held his ground, and Mrs. Liu clung to the patriarch's wife, almost driving her to insanity. Ultimately, the patriarch's wife offered a substantial monetary compensation to the Liu family, taking full blame and framing it as a misunderstanding that tarnished Miss Liu's reputation. The Liu family reluctantly relented. Despite his dissatisfaction, Zhao Shu's defiance left the Zhao family with limited options. What else could they do? Refusing marriage, Zhao Shu remained beyond the Zhao family's control. As for the Liu family and the patriarch's family, their interactions were virtually non-existent. Annoyed by the clan's interference, Zhao Shu reported to the elders and departed within a few days. His business in the south faced delays, and upon reaching the capital, he discovered that Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian had already left for An's province, leaving Zhao Shu somewhat regretful. Nonetheless, since he was already in the capital, he decided to inspect their properties on behalf of Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Chapter 1760. Preparing to propose marriage. And so, Zhao Shu made his way to the manor in Cloudwater Town, engaging in a conversation with the manager. He provided instructions on various matters, assisted in resolving a minor issue, and gathered some information in the capital before departing. Originally bound for An's province, halfway there, he found himself reconsidering. A stronger desire drew him towards Yuzhang. Changing course, Zhao Shu headed straight to the first section of the Xiao family in Xiaoding village. After spending some time in Xiaoding village, he proceeded to An's province to formalize the marriage proposal. Securing a promise from Xiao Yunduan, he happily returned to Xiaoding village. As for the events in the Zhao clan's hometown, Zhao Shu kept them tightly concealed, deeming it unnecessary to disclose. He had assured the Xiao family, so why complicate matters? Perfectly resolving the situation, Zhao Shu arrived in Yuzhang province and visited Yuezhing Xiao. Brimming with pride, he shared the news of his impending daughter-in-law, receiving blessings from Yuezhing Xiao, who even accompanied him for city shopping. They even invited a matchmaker from the provincial city. Overflowing with gratitude, Zhao Shu praised Yuezhing Xiao as a good man, offering his assistance in the future. Yuezhing Xiao couldn't help but chuckle, finding Zhao Shu's enthusiasm amusing. Little did he know, Zhao Shu harbored a hint of guilt towards him. Preferring Tao Tao, Zhao Shu perceived Yuezhing Xiao, close to the Xiao family, as a potential rival. Misunderstandings fueled his suspicion, only to realize later that he had misjudged. Although unknown to others, he carried the weight of this self-aware guilt, feeling he had let Yuezhing Xiao down. If Yuezhing Xiao knew what he was thinking, he would be caught between laughter and tears. Tao Tao was a good girl, and if the two families got married, they would be closer to the Xiao family. Yuezhing Xiao had such a thought, but he soon gave it up. The daughter-in-law of a big family like the Yuezhing family was not someone a girl like Tao Tao could deal with. In contrast, Zhao Shu's family dynamics were simpler, making him a more suitable match. With everything prepared, Zhao Shu led his men to Heshan County, where they stayed at an inn. Aunt Qing was entrusted with delivering Xiao Yunduan's letter to the Xiao family, outlining his opinions on the marriage. The matchmaker arrived and Miss Fong, overjoyed, couldn't stop smiling. She gladly accepted the proposal, and the marriage was officially arranged. Tao Tao, secretly elated, felt as if a weight had been lifted from her heart. Fifth brother and fifth sister-in-law gave their approval, indicating that she had chosen wisely. It was indeed a cause for celebration. The exchange of birth dates took place, with Aunt Qing bringing along invaluable jewelry, clothes, and precious gold and jade ornaments symbolizing auspiciousness. She personally made arrangements with the sect, paving the way for the betrothal and marriage discussions. With no direct elders in Zhao Shu's family, and the patriarch being distant, he took it upon himself to oversee the negotiations. Chapter 1761. A fight. The prospect of having a private conversation with Tao Tao filled Zhao Shu with joy. However, he hadn't anticipated that the Xiao family would stir up another commotion due to this marriage. Being the daughter of the first section of the Xiao family, Tao Tao's hand in marriage had been off-limits due to Xiao Yunduan's influence. Although some hopefuls had initially tried, Miss Fang promptly rejected their advances, causing them to abandon their aspirations. People had witnessed Xiao Yunduan's capabilities, dissuading anyone from attempting anything unconventional. The first section of the Xiao family wasn't easily fooled. Curiosity buzzed in the air as everyone wondered about the family Tao Tao would be betrothed to. When a matchmaker finally entered the first section of the Xiao family and left with joy, Xiaoding village erupted in excitement. Tao Tao's impending marriage became the talk of the village. Speculations ran wild about which fortunate young master would be marrying Mr. Prima's sister. The first section of the Xiao family was suddenly bustling with activity, as many came to inquire. Amidst the joy and anticipation, Miss Fang knew what was coming. Young Master Zhao was a commendable man, and Tao Tao would surely find happiness with him. However, worries surfaced about the failed attempt of the third branch to inform Xiao Xiaoji about Zhao Shu. Now aware of the situation, Ms. Ma and third uncle might cause a scene. Yet, Miss Fang reasoned that as Tao Tao's future husband, Zhao Shu would eventually visit the Xiao family. The matter couldn't be hidden, and it was, after all, a joyous occasion. There was no need to keep it a secret, and whenever someone inquired, the first section of the Xiao family shared the news openly. When everyone heard this, they were stunned for a moment before smiling and congratulating them. Young Master Zhao had been to the first section of the family of the Xiao family for so many times, and he came here whenever he had nothing to do. He had thought that it was strange, but it turned out that he was here for Tao Tao. That made sense. As for Ms. Ma and third uncle who were interested in Zhao Shu, they did not mention it in front of the first section of the family of the Xiao family. They were not stupid enough to bring it up in front of them. What good would it do them if they caused trouble for the first section of the family? Even those who were envious did not dare to say anything. They were afraid that they would be scolded if they said it. But Ms. Ma and third uncle were different. When they found out about this, their first reaction was disbelief. Impossible. After confirming that it was true, Ms. Ma slapped her thighs and shouted at third uncle angrily. Listen to this. What is happening? What is happening? The first section of the family is bullying us. I'm telling you this isn't over. Xiao Xiaoji was also stunned. She covered her face and ran back to her room in tears. Ms. Ma's fury was so intense that she neglected to console her saddened daughter. Instead, she hastened to the first section of the Xiao family with third uncle. Anticipating a clash, many villagers had their eyes on the unfolding drama. Observing the couple's rapid approach, a curious crowd trailed behind, eager to witness the spectacle. Upon reaching the first section, Ms. Ma and third uncle unleashed their anger, demanding answers. In the midst of a joyful occasion, their intrusion created tension. It seemed as if these two were determined to sour the celebration, portraying the first section of the Xiao family as the ones at fault. Annoyed by their baseless accusations, Ms. Fang responded with a cold and dismissive tone. Chapter 1762. The truth. Ms. Ma's eyes blazed with anger, and through gritted teeth she lashed out, "Sister-in-law, you are shameless. You married off Tao Tao and now you do this to Xiaoji? What has she done to deserve her uncle and aunt scheming against her?" Third uncle, equally furious, interjected, "Elder brother, what are you saying? You claim to care about your brother and treat us well, and yet you treat us like this? Explain yourself or this won't end." Eldest uncle sighed, his face turning red. "I knew this marriage wouldn't happen, but you insisted on it." "I knew it." These words only fueled the anger and sense of injustice for third uncle and Mrs. Ma. They demanded an explanation from the first section of the Xiao family, escalating the confrontation. Miss Fang couldn't tolerate it any longer. "Enough. Silence. Your elder brother might tolerate your nonsense, but I won't. Reflect on whether you even deserve an explanation. What do you think you're doing? Instead of questioning us, question your own worthiness." "You." Third uncle seethed. "Master Zhao initiated the proposal through a matchmaker. I have every reason to accept such a good marriage. What's wrong with that? What do you mean by snatching? This was Master Zhao's decision. He willingly chose to marry into our family. Is that not his prerogative? Are you implying they should remain unmarried unless it's to your family's liking? Your arrogance knows no bounds." Ms. Ma exploded. "We were the ones who noticed Master Zhao first." Ms. Fang retorted, "That's even more absurd. Marriage involves two families, not just your whims. If both families agree, it's called a marriage. Should they only accept your family's decisions and be forbidden from marrying anyone else? Your arrogance is unbelievable." The villagers exchanged glances and couldn't help but snicker. After all, marriage was a mutual decision between two families. If the man didn't fancy their daughter, who could they blame? "But we are brothers." Third uncle erupted in anger. We informed Xiaoji about Master Zhao first and even asked you to mediate. Instead of helping, you chose to marry Master Zhao. Are we still considered brothers to you? Is there no limit to your audacity? Miss Fang grew equally irritated. Third brother, are you forcing me to disclose everything? Unfazed, third uncle and Mrs. Ma aggressively retorted, Go ahead. What are you afraid to say? Your excuses won't hold. Miss Fang responded firmly, stating the facts. Your family isn't the only one interested in Master Zhao, there are others too. But did you ever consider that just because you like him doesn't mean he reciprocates? He hails from a wealthy southern family, possesses charm, and has a good personality. He has his pick of any girl. Other families may fantasize, but you directly approached him. Why is it surprising if he rejects you? Had our Yun Duan not become an official, even if Master Zhao fancied Tao Tao, I wouldn't have consented to this marriage. It's better to be grounded and self-aware. Third brother, don't take offense at my blunt words. You initiated trouble and I had to make things clear for you to understand. That's the reality. Do as you please. If you insist, I won't argue further. Chapter 1763. Exactly, no matter what, our family hasn't wronged you. We maintain a clear conscience. The villagers couldn't help but nod and murmur in agreement. Indeed. Young Master Zhao's lineage and demeanor are unparalleled. Being in the first tier of the family sets him apart. Absolutely. I wish for young Master Zhao to be my son-in-law too. A dream-worthy match, alas, beyond my grasp. Ah, precisely, who wouldn't desire such a son-in-law? Sister-in-law Fang has no grounds to refuse such a distinguished family just because the third branch has set their sights on them. What a waste. Quite so, I wouldn't refuse either. It's Ms. Ma and her husband who are overreaching. Third uncle and Ms. Ma were so incensed by Ms. Fang's words that they grew even more agitated. Ms. Ma nearly lunged at Ms. Fang, only to be restrained by the family servants. Ms. Ma exclaimed loudly, What's so impressive about your son being a minor official? He can't even hold his ground in the capital, banished by the aristocrats to remote villages. That's his lot in life. He has no future, no prospects. My Luleng will rise to high office. Just wait and see, this isn't over. Enraged, Miss Fang slapped Ms. Ma across the face. Ms. Ma retaliated, but was held back by the family servants. Third uncle wanted to intervene, but the stern gazes of Xiao Sanlang and the others froze him in fear. Instead, he directed his anger towards eldest uncle, cursing under his breath. Ignoring him, Miss Fang pointed at Ms. Ma. You dare curse my Yunduan? I'll shut that mouth of yours. What do you know of politics? Let me warn you again, watch your tongue or you'll find trouble knocking at your door. And by then the whole family will rue the day. Young Master Zhao is here proposing marriage, proof that my Yunduan is flourishing. You belittle my Yunduan. Why not acknowledge how much prestige your family has gained from this? Luleng roams freely under the guise of being Yunduan's blood cousin. He ingratiates himself with this person and that, as if our family remains oblivious. All for our family's benefit. I'm not as accommodating as you when it comes to being taken advantage of, yet now you slander and disdain me. Since you hold me in such contempt, why not just end our association? Dare the two of you agree to that? Ms. Ma and third uncle glared fiercely, still seething with anger, yet refrained from further comments. Could they really sever ties? The cautionary tale of the second branch loomed before them. They resisted, unwilling to relent. Though they harbored a belief in Xiao Yunduan's resilience, they remained adamant in their stance. Ms. Fang ordered someone to release Ms. Ma, her tone laced with scorn. Let me be unequivocal, Tao Tao and young Master Zhao are destined to wed. Keep your tongues in check. Should anyone dare besmirch Tao Tao or our family over alleged coercion in this cousin's betrothal, they'll face my wrath. Ms. Ma and third uncle simmered with rage but dared not retort. Ms. Fang's voice turned frigid. If there's nothing further, depart. Ms. Ma and her husband trembled with fury, their arrogance quelled. They muttered indistinctly before storming out, consumed by indignation. Chapter 1764. Tao Tao bullies. When they left, the villagers who were watching the show said some consoling words to Ms. Fang and left as well. Ms. Niu and her husband were among the crowd as well. At first, they were so excited that they wanted to cheer and clap, hoping that they would start a fight. But Ms. Ma and her husband stopped after a while, and the two of them were not very excited at all. Ms. Fang is still so domineering. She has a son who's an official. How can she not be domineering? Otherwise, not many people would be eager to have an official in their family. Hearing this, Ms. Niu got discouraged again. She made up her mind to have her eldest grandson read the books and become an official in the future so that she could be domineering and domineering too. Their eldest grandson, Xiao Xianwen, had attended the village school the previous year, yet he harbored a strong aversion to education. Refusing to rouse early, he frequently arrived late, suffered headaches during writing and memorization tasks, and took frequent absences, resulting in a disarrayed academic record. Despite the familial discord between the first and second branches, their blood ties remained intact. Ms. Nyo's obstinacy made it challenging for teachers to discipline her grandson, compounded by his academic struggles, leading to leniency from the instructor. In stark contrast, Xiao Junyan excelled academically, demonstrating proficiency in writing and recitation of classical texts like the Analects of Confucius and Mencius. The teacher even planned to introduce him to the spring and autumn period later in the year. With the family's newfound affluence and Ms. Nyo's adoration for her grandson, Xiao Dalong endeavored to support her. However, Ms. Nyo harbored suspicions toward Mei Qing, her stepmother, accusing her of orchestrating the discord. Consequently, Xiao Dalong defended Mei Qing, much to Ms. Nyo's dismay. In moments of frustration, Ms. Nyo would burst into tears, admonishing Mei Qing for alleged cruelty toward her eldest grandson and reproaching Xiao Dalong for allegedly prioritizing his daughter-in-law's interests over his son's well-being. In short, they were in a tizzy and no one could rest in peace. Mei Qing didn't dare to argue with her and cried in front of Xiao Dalong. Xiao Dalong felt sorry and guilty. In a fit of anger, he simply ignored his son and let his parents take care of him. Ms. Nyo hoped so. But what did she know? She had taught him a lesson and Xiao Xianwen became more and more useless. Thus, the second section of the family was in a tizzy and wild shrieks and howls for a period of time. In the end, it returned to Kamnesayuro. Ms. Ma and third uncle returned home dejectedly, full of anger. As soon as they entered the courtyard, they saw Xiao Xiaoji, who had run back into the house to cry, come out. Her eyes and nose were red. When she heard them return, she looked up at them with tears in her eyes. My daughter. Ms. Ma felt sorry for Xiao Xiaoji and started to cry too. Witnessing the scene, Xiao Xiaoji recognized the bleakness of their situation. Tears streamed down her cheeks once more as she and her mother clung to each other, their cries filled with despair. I can't bear Thizayuro Wuoyuro Tao Tao is such a bully. I confessed my feelings for young Master Zhao, but Sheyuro she said no Thingayuro if she also likes him, why not speak up? Do you think I have a chance against her? She kept silent but schemed behind my back. She's just too Muchiyuro unaware of Xiao Xirota's inner turmoil. Miss Fang's resolve wavered. Tao Tao is truly ruthless. Our family won't be pushed around, it'll confront them. Stop. Third uncle's voice dripped with scorn. What do you intend to do? Miss Fang is formidable. Attempting to reason with her is futile. With the multitude of servants in the first branch, you're courting trouble. Chapter 1765. Disappointed Ms. Ma felt a burning pain from the slap on her face, and she gritted her teeth. Are we just going to let this matter go? Third uncle said nothing. Of course he was also unwilling. According to him, young Master Zhao was initially interested in Tao Tao, his daughter, who was also Xiao Yunduan's daughter. So why couldn't he also be interested in Xiaoji if he was interested in Tao Tao? Wasn't it the same? It seemed likely that interference from the first branch of the family was at play. No wonder they had been unwilling to lend assistance to their family back then. It turned out they had their eyes on young Master Zhao too. They even claimed they wouldn't vie for him. Yet they swooped in without even extending a greeting. When Lulang attains an official position in the Futuria Euro, Dad. Xiao Xiaoji interjected tearfully. How much longer must we wait? Can I even afford to wait? Don't speak out of turn. Both third uncle and Ms. Ma reprimanded her simultaneously. Your sixth brother is poised to reach the intermediate level this year. Indeed, he's on track to become an advanced scholar next year. Perhaps even a primus. That's the truth. Our Lulang outshines Wulong by far. Initially, the notion of achieving the primus status was beyond their imagination. It seemed like a distant dream, too far-fetched to contemplate. What exactly was the primus? It was an honor bestowed only once every 3 years, amidst a vast empire teeming with scholars. The primus was hailed as the epitome of scholarly excellence. How could an ordinary person even dare to dream of such lofty aspirations? But ever since Xiao Yunduan ascended to the position of primus, they began to perceive the title as less exceptional, allowing themselves to entertain the notion. If someone like Xiao Yunduan could achieve intermediate primus status, then surely their son could too. After all, their son had always outshone Xiao Yunduan by leaps and bounds. The couple had indulged in countless fantasies of their son becoming primus and the lavish lifestyle that would follow his ascent to high office. Naturally, they were dismayed when Xiao Xiaoji expressed her grievances. However, Xiao Xiaoji remained resolute. I won't just let it go. Cao Tao stole my chance at marriage. It wasn't merely a matter of family background. Young Master Zhao was exceedingly handsome and dignified. His smiles radiated warmth and kindness. Xiao Xiaoji harbored genuine affection for him. Moreover, young Master Zhao had even bestowed a smile upon her before, suggesting he held her in favorable regard. Third uncle and Ms. Ma shared her fury but felt equally powerless. When Xiao Lulang returned from the school library in the evening, the couple couldn't contain their eagerness to share the news with him. They awaited his decision with bated breath. Recently, Xiao Lulang had secluded himself in the building to study, indifferent to distractions. Upon hearing the news, he too was taken aback, feeling a pang of disappointment. He hadn't anticipated such an auspicious match to fall into Cao Tao's lap. It made sense. Xiao Yunduan now held an official position, even if it was in the modest An's province. Yet it was still a fourth-grade prefecture euro, a distinction many never achieved in their lifetime. Young Master Zhao's decision to marry Cao Tao undoubtedly bore some relation to this. This was all too ordinary. Anyone in his position would know the obvious choice between Cao Tao and Xiaoji. Yet, Xiaoji was his blood sister, while Cao Tao hailed from the esteemed first branch of the family. Naturally, he couldn't help but feel discontented. A sense of despondency crept over him. Why wasn't he the one bestowed with the title of primus, remaining in the capital? If it were him, he was confident he could have surpassed Xiao Yunduan. Setting aside all else, he would have certainly avoided offending a noble and being exiled from the capital. Instead, he would have diligently climbed the ranks step by step within the capital. If young Master Zhao had to make a choice, he surely wouldn't have chosen Cao Tao. Why couldn't it have been him? Chapter 1766. Stupid without knowing, I seem to remember. Didn't young Master Zhao say that the clan arranged a marriage for him? Ms. Ma and the other two got startled. Oh, that's right. How could I have forgotten about this? That's right, I remember it clearly. Young Master Zhao said that. Ms. Ma burst into laughter, relishing in her gloating. So Cao Tao is going to be young Master Zhao's concubine? How intriguing. The first branch of the family is sending their daughter to be his concubine. Humph, she's in for a rude awakening. Xiao Xiaoda's expression darkened as she bit her lip, her heart heavy with the revelation. She was willing to accept being a concubine. Xiao Lulang shot his mother a speechless glance, feeling a surge of disdain toward her. He despised the values upheld by such a family. They were all foolish and ignorant. Yet he too was foolish and oblivious. But what choice did he have? They were his parents. He could never rid himself of them. Hence, he couldn't help but feel a pang of envy toward Xiao Yunduan. He even envied Xiao Yunduan for having such a formidable mother. Though his own father was unreliable, he lacked the courage to cause trouble, unlike his parents. Previously, he hadn't paid much heed to it, but as his perspective widened, he began to recognize their folly. It's premature to jump to conclusions. Who knows what the truth is? If you're curious, go inquire at the first branch of the family. Don't spread baseless rumors. Ms. Ma bristled at his words. This isn't baseless. Why not? Don't go stirring up trouble with Aunt again. Ms. Ma snorted dismissively. Am I supposed to be afraid of her? Xiao Lulang paid her no mind as she continued her nonsensical chatter. Frowning, he interjected, Forget it, there's no need to inquire further. Even if you find out, what difference will it make? Let me handle this. Xiao Xiaoda's tears welled up again. Sixth brother, what do you mean? Impatiently, Xiao Lulang glanced at her. Young Master Zhao and the first branch of the family have already exchanged pleasantries. Their intentions won't change. What more do you want? Our family situation isn't bad now. You can find a suitable match. Xiao Xiaoji bit her lip. But none are as good as young Master Zhao Yuro. If she hadn't been his sister by blood, Xiao Lulang would have scoffed. How many wealthy young masters like Zhao Shu existed? They were truly ambitious, daring to aspire to anything. He harbored similar aspirations, but he understood his limitations. He knew he couldn't reach for them at his current stage. Perhaps in the future Euro he'd have his chance then. Xiao Lulang's tone turned stern as he cautioned, No one in Shouting Village can aspire to marry someone like young Master Zhao. Xiao Xiaoji blurted out, If only you had achieved an official position sooner, sixth brother. Xiao Lulang's sharp gaze pierced her, causing her to instinctively retreat behind Ms. Ma, startled. She had never seen such intensity in her brother's eyes before. It made her feel a twinge of fear. Clasping his fists, Xiao Lulang responded calmly, "Nonsense. Do you think it's easy to attain the status of a recommended man or advanced scholar? It requires not just ability but luck as well." Third uncle and Ms. Ma nodded in agreement. That's right. Wulang got lucky. That's right, how is he inferior to our Lulang?" Xiao Lulang was not very happy hearing what they said. Chapter 1767. Xiao Xiaoji is also ready. Ms. Ma snorted dismissively. Am I supposed to be afraid of her? Xiao Lulang paid her no mind as she continued her nonsensical chatter. Frowning, he interjected, "Forget it, there's no need to inquire further. Even if you find out, what difference will it make? Let me handle this." Xiao Xiaoda's tears welled up again. "Sixth brother, what do you mean?" Impatiently, Xiao Lulang glanced at her. Young Master Zhao and the first branch of the family have already exchanged pleasantries. Their intentions won't change. What more do you want? Our family situation isn't bad now. You can find a suitable match. Xiao Xiaoji bit her lip. But none are as good as young Master Zhao Yuro. If she hadn't been his sister by blood, Xiao Lulang would have scoffed. How many wealthy young masters like Zhao Shu existed? They were truly ambitious, daring to aspire to anything. He harbored similar aspirations, but he understood his limitations. He knew he couldn't reach for them at his current stage. Perhaps in the future Yuro had have his chance then. Xiao Lulang's tone turned stern as he cautioned, "No one in Shouting Village can aspire to marry someone like young Master Zhao." Xiao Xiaoji blurted out, "If only you had achieved an official position sooner, sixth brother." Xiao Lulang's sharp gaze pierced her, causing her to instinctively retreat behind Ms. Ma, startled. She had never seen such intensity in her brother's eyes before. It made her feel a twinge of fear. Clasping his fists, Xiao Lulang responded calmly, "Nonsense. Do you think it's easy to attain the status of a recommended man or advanced scholar? It requires not just ability but luck as well." Third uncle and Ms. Ma nodded in agreement. Seeing their reactions, Xiao Lulang realized it was futile to continue. He grew even more impatient and despondent. What kind of family did he have? None of them understood. Though he had contemplated distancing himself from them, he feared they might act recklessly, so he patiently explained his thoughts. It took some time, but eventually third uncle and the others grasped his perspective. However, Xiao Xiaoji remained unconvinced. To her, the first branch of the family had initially let them down and owed them. What difference would it make to cause a stir? Even if they did, their frustration would remain unresolved. As for the benefits they were owed to them, Xiao Lulang sighed inwardly. Clearly this tactic worked on them. Why had he wasted so much effort explaining before? With a cold demeanor, Xiao Lulang retreated to his room, sneering at their compliance. They were quick to heed him now, weren't they? That night, Xiao Lulang visited the first section of the family. Each time he ventured there, the opulence of the first branch irked him, but he had grown accustomed to masking his emotions. First, he offered apologies on behalf of his parents. Then he adopted a diplomatic approach. Given their close familial ties, wasn't it understandable for his parents and Xiaoji to feel hurt and resentful, especially since Tao Tao was the one who had initially disclosed the matter to Xiaoji but failed to follow through? While it might have been acceptable for an unrelated family within their own kin, such actions emotionally wounded their family, leaving their parents and sisters feeling betrayed. This was the crux of their frustration. This ambiguity led to chaos. The first branch of the family was technically justified, yet morally questionable. Left unresolved, the situation would likely cast Tao Tao and the eldest branch in a negative light, branding them as domineering and oppressive. Chapter 1768. Knowing everything, if he persists in discussing such matters, it could adversely affect 5th Casino Euro. Upon hearing these words, eldest uncle was overwhelmed with guilt. He grasped Xiao Lulang's hands, apologizing profusely. The members of the senior branch of the family were visibly disgusted. However, Miss Fong remained unfazed and interjected sharply. "Sixth nephew, your scholarly arguments are sound, but alas, Yunduan isn't present to engage in this discourse. He would have appreciated your intellect. As for myself, while I may lack extensive knowledge, I understand the importance of perseverance. It seems your parents were overly ambitious, wouldn't you agree? Did they truly believe they could aspire to a match like young Master Zhao's family? We are but humble villagers with scant land and no servants. One wonders at the audacity of your parents. Did they not foresee the ridicule? It's laughable how they failed to consider the consequences. Did they not consult you beforehand? Surely you would have dissuaded them. How could they be so naive, yet you remain astute? Hence, there is no cause for resentment on your part. Our acceptance of this proposal was not an attempt to curry favor but a recognition of young Master Zhao's sincerity. He is a commendable individual, and we believe he will treat Cao Cao with kindness. Surely you see the distinction? To reject young Master Zhao outright, regardless of Cao Cao's welfare, would be unjust to both him and our family. Would you not agree? Therefore our conscience is clear. We have not failed your family in any regard. Sixth nephew, I cannot concede to your criticisms of our family. Let the gossips chatter if they must. We have no reason to be ashamed. Who dares challenge us? I am prepared to defend our actions. Xiao Sanlang sneered in concurrence. Mother speaks the truth. We have committed no wrong. Who should we fear in speaking our minds? Yes, yes. Very true. Upon hearing Ms. Fang's remarks, the members of the senior branch of the family straightened their postures, exuding confidence. Eldest uncle remained silent, lips pursed, his gaze averted. Xiao Lulang seethed with anger. It was no surprise that his mother, lacking knowledge, couldn't hold her own against elder aunt. Her sharp tongue had laid bare everything. Were it not for his ability to contain his fury, he might have erupted. A euro yet, our families are connected to euro indeed. Shouldn't your family exercise more prudence and rationality? Their disparate backgrounds were glaringly evident, yet they plunged headlong into proposing to young Master Zhao with unabashed enthusiasm. Fortunately, young Master Zhao was magnanimous and disregarded their audacity. Had it been someone else, they would have faced utter humiliation. It was a display of self-inflicted disgrace. Miss Fang harbored no sympathy for them. She wasn't foolish enough to spurn such a favorable match for her daughter. Xiao Lulang flushed with embarrassment and a hint of shame crept into his voice. Xiaoji is also fifth cousin's sister. She's not much different from Cao Cao. Had elder aunt and uncle advocated for her, young Master Zhao might not have refused Hera Euro. Chapter 1769. End of conversation. You intend to exploit Yunduan's situation now? What were your earlier sentiments? Miss Fang sneered. You can't equate the two. There's a vast disparity between a cousin and a close kin. Moreover, if young Master Zhao isn't inclined, he isn't inclined. Yunduan lacks the authority to coerce him, so why intervene? I'm not disparaging Xiaoji, but is she truly suitable for young Master Zhao? Comparing her to our Cao Cao is laughable. Do you believe young Master Zhao is naive? I once thought you had a sensible mind, but your judgment seems clouded. Xiao Lulang felt his temper flare. One day, he vowed silent lie euro. He collected himself with a deep breath, forcing a smile. Elder aunt, your eloquence surpasses mine. I concede defeat. Let's refrain from discussing this further. I beseech elder aunt and uncle to attend to Xiaoda's welfare and arrange a suitable marriage for her. Please fulfill my request. Regardless, Xiao Xiaoji had suffered humiliation due to this affair. Her matrimonial prospects might face hurdles. Naturally, she would marry eventually. It was inconceivable for Xiao family daughters not to wed. Indeed, even the singles of Xiaoding village were sought after. Xiao Lulang aspired for Xiao Xiaoji to wed into a prestigious household. Miss Fang nodded. Certainly, provided your parents' consent, numerous suitable matches abound. Indeed, it was the reality. Xiao Lulang euro, if Xiaoda's betrothal is arranged, elder aunt, ensure she stands proudly. A generous dowry will ensure her esteem in society euro. Xiao Lulang, fearing misunderstanding, clarified his intentions to Miss Fang. He extended his hand to request her dowry. Miss Fang smiled and assented. Fear not, Xiaoji is my niece and she shall receive her dowry. We can spare a few thousand taels of silver. However, convey to your parents the importance of avoiding further trouble and refraining from spreading rumors. Otherwise they may find my door shut to them. Though the third branch of the family was somewhat deserving of repercussions, the engagement of Cao Cao and young Master Zhao would subject Xiao Xiaoji to ridicule. Miss Fang was inclined to extend her support to Xiao Xiaoji, even at the expense of the first branch of the family. Miss Fang would feel remorseful if Xiao Xiaoji faced mockery and jeopardized her marriage. For Miss Fang it was a matter of karma and she felt compelled to act. She couldn't simply ignore the negative consequences. Now that prosperity had visited the family, Xiao Xian had generously shared the family's wealth. Miss Fang could afford to provide Xiao Xiaoji with 1,000 or 2,000 taels of silver, fine jewelry and quality attire. Xiao Lulang finally achieved a modicum of success with his request, prompting a sigh of relief. Oh, by the way, didn't young Master Zhao mention he was already betrothed? Why the sudden change? Aunt Qing, the emissary from Zhao Shu, clarified that it was a misunderstanding, and his previous family hadn't arranged any marriage for him. He was mistaken. However, even if there were no misunderstanding, he wouldn't marry Xiaoji. With nothing further to add, Xiao Lulang took his leave. Upon learning of the first branch's willingness to provide Xiao Xiaoji with a substantial dowry, third uncle and Madame Ma found some solace. Chapter 1770. Zhao Shu is here. However, the realization that they had missed out on a promising son-in-law like Zhao Shu and the significant financial loss incurred left them feeling that a mere 1,000 taels of silver was akin to tossing a coin to a beggar. Xiao Xiaoji hurriedly sought out Zhao Shu for clarification on the recent events. Upon hearing Xiao Lulang's account, she was momentarily stunned. Third uncle and Ms. Ma were incensed. Their conviction that the first branch of the family had acted deceitfully and capitalized on an opportunity grew stronger. It was evident to them that the first branch must have been aware of the misunderstanding long before but chose to withhold the information, clandestinely orchestrating the union of young Master Zhao and Tao Tao. Had they been informed earlier about young Master Zhao's misunderstanding, they would have undoubtedly contested it. With the basis for rejection eliminated, there was a high likelihood that young Master Zhao would have consented. The more third uncle and Ms. Ma deliberated, the more indignant they became. They were on the verge of storming over to the first branch of the family to confront them. Before they could act on their anger, Zhao Shu arrived the following day. Since their engagement bound them as family, Zhao Shu's outreach to his fiancée C.E.'s family was met with tacit acceptance. Zhao Shu was elated yet apprehensive. He specifically requested Aunt Qing's assistance in selecting attire and accessories, meticulously preparing himself before setting out with a plethora of gifts. This time he could bestow gifts without reservation. A potent tool to win favor. As expected, the arrival of young Master Zhao in the village elicited jubilation from its residents. Even the children were ecstatic, surrounding the carriage as it entered the village, chanting joyfully, "Young Master Zhao is here. Young Master Zhao has arrived." Zhao Shu was well prepared for the occasion. He jovially interacted with the children, instructing Tong's Hun to fetch a large basket brimming with an assortment of treats: melon seeds, peanuts, sesame nougat, sweet osmanthus, sugar, dragon whiskers, mung bean cakes, pastries and more. He distributed them to the eager children, who gleefully clamored for the snacks. "Easy now, there's plenty for everyone." Zhao Shu chuckled, urging them to visit the first branch of the family. "We've got it all." Upon arriving at the first branch of the family for the first time since the engagement, Zhao Shu adopted a more solemn demeanor. Upon seeing Ms. Fong and eldest uncle, he couldn't help but feel a twinge of nervousness. Nonetheless, he bowed respectfully. Ms. Fong, however, greeted him warmly, insisting there was no need for such formality. Ms. Fong was exceedingly pleased with him, and now that he was her son-in-law, her satisfaction only deepened. She found him exemplary in every aspect and harbored no desire to make things difficult for him. Learning of his family's misfortune and his mother's premature passing only heightened her sympathy towards him. She ushered him inside, assigning Xiao Dalong and Xiao Sanlang to keep him company while Yang Xiaoni and Ms. Su attended to the meal preparations. As Tong's Hun and the other gifts were unloaded from the wagon, Ms. Fong couldn't contain her joy, though she couldn't help but express concern over the expense. "How much money did this cost? We have an abundance at home, and with so many items it'll be ages before we use them all. What if they go to waste or get damaged? Please refrain from such extravagance in the future." Zhao Shu reassured her with a chuckle. "It's just some tailored fabric, dry goods, seafood and everyday necessities. Nothing to fret over." Meanwhile, Tao Tao had discreetly retreated to her modest courtyard. Concerned that she might harbor reservations or sadness about the marriage, the third section of the family intended to offer her solace. Chapter 1771. Talk alone. Unexpectedly, Tao Tao realized that Zhao Shu wasn't to blame. It was the meddling of the third party that caused the issue. She harbored no ill will towards Zhao Shu and bore no grudge against their impending marriage. If anyone was to blame, it was the interference from the third party. Upon hearing that Zhao Shu was present and that their relationship had shifted, Tao Tao shyly avoided him. Zhao Shu had always been close to the first branch of the family, engaging in lively conversation with Xiao Sanlang. Xiao Dalong, though quieter, still contributed to the harmonious atmosphere. The three of them shared an amicable bond. As they waited, Zhao Shu's gaze wandered, and he politely inquired about Tao Tao, expressing his desire to speak with her. Xiao Dalong hesitated, while Xiao Sanlang in his typical candid manner interjected, "Shu, you wish to see Tao Tao? Well, that's not for us to decide. You should ask our mother." "Mother, if Shu wishes to speak with Tao Tao, what are your thoughts?" Zhao Shu felt a pang of embarrassment at the straightforwardness of his third brother-in-law. Quickly rising to his feet, Zhao Shu addressed Miss Fang with a smile. Mother-in-law I simply haven't had the chance to catch up with Tao Tao, and I'd like to have a chat with her. Just theta Xiao Sanlang chimed in. Mom, Tao Tao and Xiao Shu are engaged, they're family now. It's only natural for them to spend time together. After all, it was the way he and his wife had conducted their relationship. Miss Fang shot a disapproving glance at her son's bluntness and then turned to Zhao Shu with a warm smile. Go ahead, Tao Tao is in her quarters. Have a chat with her. They'll call you when lunch is ready. Tao Tao was accompanied by two maids she had acquired the previous year, Xiangling and Xiangyue. Despite Zhao Shu not being particularly frivolous or rude, their engagement was a positive development, and Miss Fang saw no reason to intervene. It was her dense son who seemed oblivious to subtlety. Wouldn't he discreetly inform her? His loud outburst risked embarrassing their son-in-law. Concerned for Zhao Shu's feelings, Miss Fang attempted to console him. Zhao Shu was delighted by Miss Fang's acquiescence. He felt no embarrassment at all. Agreeing eagerly, he proceeded to engage in conversation with Tao Tao. Tao Tao, caught between embarrassment and happiness, found herself lost in contemplation as she gazed at the blooming peonies in the courtyard. Upon spotting Zhao Shu, her cheeks flushed, and though she instinctively wanted to retreat, the knowledge of their engagement held her back. Yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that meeting like this wasn't ideal, hesitating on whether to depart. Why don't they just leave ya? Zhao Shu's grin widened upon seeing her, his eyes alight with Tao Tao's presence. Advancing eagerly, he exclaimed, Tao Tao. Finally relieved of restraint. His triumphant tone only deepened Tao Tao's blush. She shot him a reproachful glare and averted her gaze. You speak more politely. Of course. They'll be polite. Zhao Shu's happiness remained undiminished. He regarded Tao Tao with a tender smile, as though he would agree with whatever she said. Tao Tao felt even more self-conscious. This man at least before there was a veil of discretion. He had restrained himself, allowing only furtive glances. Though his keen observation always caught her, she could pretend not to notice.